Whew. All right. Huh. Mic check. Mic check. Can you guys hear me okay? Whew. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome in. Welcome in. Listen, we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back, you guys. This is Real Nathan Daley, and we're here with the segment of the Crime Classroom. We're talking about the Nolan Wells case. For those who are well aware of all the drama and theories and conspiracies surrounding this case, you guys, we are going to have an amazing discussion. First, before we even get started, as you guys are rolling into the chat, into the stream, please share this stream. Give it a thumbs up. That'll help push this thing throughout YouTube. You guys, listen, for those who are not familiar, those who are new to my channel, I'm a 13-year law enforcement veteran, you guys. I work as an expert witness for police policy, procedures, and use of force. So on this channel, I break down high-profile cases, body-worn camera, with law enforcement. I give you my thoughts, give you my expert opinion on a lot of these things. We don't do foolishness over here, you guys. We do facts over feelings. All right, we're going to have a lot of sensitive topics and conversations, discussions tonight involving the case of Nolan Wells, involving race, the actors that are involved, the primary suspects or the suspects. We're going to talk about the investigation, where it should be at this stage, where it isn't, where the transparency is, the lack of it, a lot of unanswered questions. We're going to talk about the autopsy. All right. We're going to break down the press conference that the family just put on after the funeral. All right. So again, condolences to the family, you guys. Prayers go out to them and those who know Nolan. Okay. So we want to be respectful, obviously, with these type of conversations. Because it's an ongoing investigation. We don't know what direction this thing is going in. So we're going to have some tough conversations tonight. Not only that, you guys, I'm going to allow you to come up here and speak your piece as well. Now, when you come up here, you do have to have your camera on. All right, we'll have a discussion. For those who want to debate, we'll debate. Last live stream, I gave somebody the benefit of the doubt. And this goes back to the reason why we make sure people have their cameras on. Put your words where your face is. All right. It keeps people honest and it keeps the cowards out. Okay. So listen, let's go ahead and get started. You guys, there's a lot to talk about. We're not going to waste any time. As you're coming into the chat, please hit the like button and let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay. So as you guys already know, he was laid to rest today. Nolan Wells was laid to rest. They had a funeral service. The family was very, very gracious to let the media in. Some people feel some kind of way about that. You know, it's the family. They decide what they want to do. It's their funeral service, right? It's their child. So there's a lot of things going on with this case, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a couple videos. We're going to break down these videos, give you my thoughts. This is the press conference. And then we're going to break down a video regarding race. People are saying, you know, this incident is race related. We're going to have that discussion. All right. So shout out to everybody in the chat as you guys are coming in. Welcome, 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 welcome. Matter of fact, before we even get into that video, I'm going to put a poll up. I like these polls because it gives me a gauge of kind of who's in the chat and also how you guys feel. And it lets us have these deeper conversations. So let me add a poll. Is this case, let's see. Is this case about race? Maybe. Is that a good question? I don't know. Maybe somebody help me with the question. What's a good question to ask? I think, is this case about race? No. Is Nolan's death based due to his race, or was this an accident? I don't know. Let me see. Was Nolan's death No, I'm put. Is this case about race? Is this case about race? Yeah. Simple question. We'll keep it simple. Is this case about race? Let's keep it simple. Shout out to you guys. Everybody's come in. All right, good. Did the autopsy come back yet? From my understanding, no. The autopsy's not back yet. I think the physical autopsy is done on the state side. However, they're waiting on the toxicology, which, you guys, listen, all transparency, toxicology does take about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, that's very consistent, depending on the city, depending on the state that you're in, depending on how elaborate the systems or the laboratory that they're using, the backlog and things of that nature. And so there's a lot. But here's my thing. At the end of the day, people want to know the physicality, right? I think toxicology is important to just get a very well-rounded perspective of the state of mind or the condition internally of Nolan during this incident, whether this was an accident or whether he was murdered, right? There's no evidence that suggests that he was murdered yet, and there's no evidence to suggest that it was an accident. There's no evidence to suggest that this was racially motivated, and there's no evidence to suggest that it is, right? And I think that's the conundrum of this entire case. The investigators are not giving any information, okay? Even Sheriff Ledbetter, I think is Leadbetter. That's a funny name for this case. Leadbetter, Sheriff, right? He also has alluded to nothing at all, okay? We know that someone made a statement and said that there was no signs of foul play prior to the autopsy was completed, okay? That's a problem, because here's the thing. What if he was poisoned, right? That's the purpose of toxicology. That would suggest murder, right? So there's all these things that we need to have in order to really properly investigate. Now, the question is, are people being interviewed? Is it uncommon for investigators to not be so vocal? Yes, you guys. And so sometimes we look at things because we're looking at things from an emotional perspective, yet this is how things transpire with investigations, especially ones of this magnitude. Unfortunately, Mississippi, as we all know, historically, they have a horrible reputation, not just historically, but present day, okay? Present day, Mississippi does not have a great reputation as it relates to race relations, as it relates to investigating crimes involving minorities, okay? That's a fact. All right, I had someone on the live stream trying to tell me different. We know the truth, you guys. We don't argue with ignorant people. The facts are the facts, whether we like it or not, all right? I'm telling you as a former investigator that's a fact. Mississippi and other cities and other sundown town areas, they don't have a good reputation. And you don't have to go to a sundown town to get unfair treatment as it relates to the criminal justice. You just don't, right? It just all comes down to being in front of the wrong judge, the wrong prosecutor, okay? In your case, and you could have a bad day, all right? So I think this case is going to open a lot of eyes to a lot of things. Ben Crump. Now I have my feelings on Ben Crump and Al Sharpton. Not a fan of those two. However, you have to give credit where credit is due. Their celebrity status, right? Their celebrity is the reason why this case is getting the type of attention that it deserves, and also getting the reaction that it deserves to get. And it's also putting the spotlight on things that people are kind of looking side-eye about. What we do know is, according to the Sheriff Ledbetter, they've interviewed over 60 people. All right, the FBI is also involved in this investigation. That's a fact. Okay, the FBI has been involved, according to them, from the very beginning of this thing. They were asked, the sheriffs asked for their assistance. For those who don't know, that area outside of Mississippi, that island, I believe that's federal territory. All right. But there's another reason why the FBI are involved, you guys, is because people have been threatening a judge. All right. A judge. You guys, you cannot threaten a judge, no matter how you feel about this case. And listen, I get it. right? These boys look suspicious, but you know who else is suspicious, or who else is also a primary suspect? Katie. Okay, Katie's also a suspect. You guys, everybody on that island is a suspect until proven otherwise. You follow the evidence. You follow the evidence. That's how the game goes. And so Katie is a potential suspect. And then guess what? We rule her out. Okay, you got to rule her out. You go through her phone, you interview her, right? Hey, where were you? What time and place? When did you see him? What'd you do? What'd he do? Where did he go? I want to know every step turn about what happened, the confrontation. Was there arguing? What'd you see? Point me in that direction, you guys, and let the evidence speak for itself. Okay. Nobody is off the hook. Everybody is a primary suspect. In this case, we're talking about an island full of people, full of boats. Okay. There's boats everywhere. And so you got to fact check people. Just because they give you an alibi is meant to what? For you to follow up on. Okay, where were you at this point in time of the day and whatever, in this hour? Where were you? And who else can vouch for that? Were there anybody else? Okay, so this you could even kind of like confirm the boys, right? The friends. A lot of people are giving them a lot of slack. I get it. They've been acting very suspicious. Okay, their behaviors. People say, oh, they lowered up too quickly. Yeah, I get it. But that wasn't, obviously, that's horrible for optics, right? Horrible for optics. So someone said, who has jurisdiction? Technically, I don't know. I think it depends on if the crime happened in the water. I'm assuming it's, they go by maritime law, right? So I want to say it's the feds, right? I want to say it's the feds. So don't quote me on that, though. Don't quote me on that. However, I know that the FBI is involved because they were assisting anyways, but they are focusing on, a lot of their attention is focused on the threats that were made to the judge. Okay. You cannot threaten the judge, you guys. That's a felony. All right. It's a federal crime to threaten a judge at any point in time in your life. You cannot do it. So we're going to talk about that as well. Pull up some of the threats or things that were made or said. People sent things to the judges, DMs, things like that, threatening her family and so forth and so on. You guys, the feds are going to find you. All right. They're going to find you. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. You guys, welcome to the channel. Those who are jumping in, hit the like button if you can, please. We're going to have a great conversation. It's going to get a little intense. I'm not going to lie. We're going to keep it real over here. We're going to be talking about race, the autopsy, and a lot of other controversial topics surrounding this case. So let's go ahead and dive into the press conference. I listened to it earlier today, and I believe they shared a lot of stuff that I thought was very, very interesting for us to discuss. So we're going to go ahead and watch it.
Let me say that
let me know if you guys
be
can hear it
mindful
okay.
of the fact that these two parents have just funeralized their son, and we would hope you respect that. They've just got off the phone with Tyler Perry, thanking him again for paying for the funeral, and now matching me and putting up now a $100,000 reward for anyone that gives information that directly leads to the arrest and prosecution and conviction of someone if a crime was committed. We are committed in Nash Action Network and other organizations to stand for this family. It does not end with the funeral. We intend to be vigilant on this local investigation, and we intend to push as hard as we can to find out what happened, what was this cause of this tragedy. Clearly, the inconsistencies and unanswered questions leaves a serious cloud. We are not making direct accusations, and we don't appreciate those that are making them against Nolan. We want the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes the truth is also something that is required. So we'll take your questions, Attorney Ben Crump and I, and if you have something that is that you want to ask the family. Again, if you go beyond the boundaries of what is appropriate, I will stop the question, not the family, because they're not here to be ridiculed. They are here because they're mourning and they had enough heart to say they would come with us to the press conference.
All right, let me pause it there. One thing that Al stated that I think is interesting is that they put up $100,000 reward, tip money. You guys, they are not playing any games. When someone says $100,000 for any information that would lead to the arrest, the capture, and conviction of a suspect, here's the problem with that statement, right? I don't know if Al and Ben, if they seen the body. I don't know. Okay. I would hope that they are operating from a mindset of intelligence, right? Information that they have involved in this case before they make a statement like that. Because here's the thing, you guys, there's a possibility that there is no foul play, right? That is a possibility. Is it unlike? I mean, we don't know. We don't have any information to suggest otherwise. So have they seen the body? Does the body show any type of foul play at all? What about the death is mysterious, right? Like, what we need more information. All we have is that the body was on the shore, he was face down, and then we had one of the rescuers who stated that the body wasn't waterlogged, which is a very, very big deal. It's a very big deal if the body's not waterlogged. It means that the body wasn't saturated or absorbed a lot of water. There's no water inside the lungs, right? So there's evidence, whether or not the evidence suggests or doesn't suggest, but it sounds like it does not suggest that he drowned, okay? With a statement like that, and that was someone outside of the investigative team from law enforcement. It was like, hey, the body wasn't, I don't know if he said it didn't appear to be waterlogged or if it wasn't waterlogged. That is a very, very powerful statement as it relates to this case, because what it would suggest that, one, the body wasn't in water for a long period of time. Two, he could have been killed and placed in the water or placed at the scene where he was located. And so that changes everything. Okay. And also, when you make a statement like, hey, there's a reward for releasing information, $100,000, you guys. I'd have been like 200,000 for anybody. I'm talking about, I'm about to drop some money to change somebody's life. You know, we want people to come forward and share what they have. Apparently, according to investigators, there've been a lot of people sharing videos and pictures, and allowing the investigators to kind of piece things together as they need, right, in order to kind of paint the proper picture. So a lot of people have an issue with Ben Crump and Al Sharpton. I have the same issues a lot of people have with them as well. However, like I said, their celebrity brings a lot of attention to this case. Granted, they're going to get paid. Okay, that's part of the deal. Nothing's for free, unfortunately. These are civil rights attorneys, and these are not criminal attorneys. People can never understand why, when they get behind a case, why there's no real change, or why people or officers are not convicted, and blah, 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 blah. Because you guys, they're here to hype the case up. All right. They're here to hype the case up. All right. So anyways, let's keep going.
Just very briefly, I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton and National Action Network and Mr. Tyler Perry, because we're in a ferocious search for the truth. And we know there were hundreds of people on Horn Island. Many of them have contacted us saying that they believe that they need to tell the family their truths directly. For whatever reasons, they said, we may call the law enforcement agencies, but we want to tell you all the truth of what we saw, or what we videotaped, or photographs we took. And we believe that everybody should want the same thing, the truth. And it is imperative as soon as possible. Do not let time continue to. It's been 2 weeks now almost. Let's intensify, and that's why I'm grateful for the reward. Let's intensify this search for the truth, because they have a tendency to sweep things under the rug as time goes by. We don't want too much time to go by when memories get foggy, when people start to feel pressure. They heard a law enforcement person say no foul play, so they don't feel like if they say anything, it's going to be attacked. No. Tell us. We want to evaluate every aspect to be able to give Christine and Elmore answers as to why Nolan Wells is dead and not with us. And so with that, we will take your questions if you have any.
Please identify.
So let me speak to that. We're going to talk a lot about race as it relates to this case tonight. And give you my thoughts. Someone who's worked. Now, granted, I haven't worked in every department, but I've read, I've seen investigations from other departments. I've seen whistleblowers. I've seen things take place. I've seen racist cops get locked up, right? I've worked with cops that had some questionable behaviors, even in my police department. So, I've seen a lot of things, you guys. So when we talk about corruption, right? We talk about corruption. Racist cops fall under that, right? We're talking about anybody who abuses their power, right? Just in general. And what Ben is talking about is, hey, listen, these people, right? And he's done a lot of civil cases, he has a lot of cases under his belt. And what he's saying is true, you guys. There's some police departments, they act as if they are separate from the governing body of a state. They act as if they do not, that they are not held to the Constitution, right? You have some departments, and it's not all in every state, but you have at least one in every state where they believe that they are the sole power and authority in that area, in that region, in that community. You guys, it's a very dangerous thing to have when you have departments that lack all oversight, okay? All oversight. And then you have family after family, generation to generation of officers who are taking that uniform, taking that badge, and then they are receiving this power, and they're receiving this shield and this protection through their nepotism. All right, you guys, it is a real thing in law enforcement. And what he's saying is, when you have old relationships, traditional relationships within a community, from the criminal justice system, we're talking about the courts, corrections, and police, and everybody is tied together. So-and-so knows cousin so-and-so. So-and-so knows auntie this and uncle that. And that was my grandfather, and blase, blase. Their relationship becomes like a bond. We're talking like blue bloods, you guys. And they can railroad you. They can absolutely railroad you. And it doesn't have to just be about color. It's sometimes just about, you cross the family, you cross the line. It's a power trip. It's an ego. It's a God complex. And they will stall out a case. They'll stall a case out. All of a sudden, evidence is missing, right? All of a sudden, that tape that it was destroyed. All of a sudden, that eyewitness suddenly passed away. Okay. And so what Ben is saying is that, hey, we got to stay on top of it, or they'll try to drag this out and let it fade into the darkness. All right. When people stop asking questions, which is what they believe they're trying to stall their autopsy on. All right. So yeah, so they're on point in this case. I'm not gonna lie, they're on point in this case.
Identify your outlet and say your name.
Tristan Smith from Dayline NBC. First, thank you for allowing us here today. I'm praying for your family, and I hope you get answers to your questions soon. I just wanted to know, with the community turnout, the football players there, the state reps, everybody came out today. What does that mean to you and your family?
That means a lot. Again, that is a testament to who Nolan is and was as a person, how many people he touched. It's also a testament to those who have questioned our parenting what type of parents we are to all of our children. And we just cannot thank our community enough for rallying around us during this time. Also, again, to Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, Byron Allen, like just so much love from places we could have never imagined. And we're grateful. Thank you.
Danielle Willis, WJTV out of Jackson. And again, my condolences as well to you all. We are praying for you in your time. And what would transparency look like to you all? I know we spoke about transparency during the eulogy. What are you hoping and wanting from investigators?
The truth. I think that we need to hear exactly with evidence of what they say happened. I think that part of what embellished the concerns we had was for someone in law enforcement here to say, we see no foul play. So they're really going to have to show us one way or another where they go from here. The fact is that you cannot convince many of us, given the unanswered questions, cell phones, stuff taken off the cell phone, keys.
Let me touch on this real quick. This is a good point. You can't assume there was no evidence. Crump is no dummy. Crump is a puppet. All right. And I wouldn't say he's a dummy. He makes good money, but you guys, there's levels to this game. And this is what I'll say. People are put in position, and there's a puppet, and then there's puppeteers. And don't get it twisted. These guys are puppets. Okay. These guys are puppets. Best believe they are tools being used to weaponize racism. All right. Even when it doesn't exist, their job is to weaponize that. Their job is to maximize that. That's what they sell. They sell racism, even when it's not present, even when it doesn't exist, you guys. These guys are corrupt, in my humble opinion, and so never mind his inability to properly articulate things. This guy makes millions of dollars. These guys are making 33%. Okay, when these civil lawsuits come out, only when it's a white suspect and a black victim. Don't get it twisted. They do not care about civil rights, and they just don't. All right, they don't. And I got stories. I have plenty of stories. And to them, it's a game. Now, granted, can you benefit? Can you leverage the celebrity? Absolutely. Is it a mutual benefit? Yes, right? You get access to his network. You get access to his celebrity status. You guys, yes, and it comes with a price. It comes with a price. And so it's not that it's like people say, it's like going to the military. Don't go into the military and get used. You go into the military and you need to have a focus, have a direction. If you don't know what you're doing, they will play you and they'll take advantage of you. Okay. And that's what we see here. These are opportunists at the end of the day. And so the moment you start thinking they actually care and they want to do, nah, they don't. You guys, they are professional racist gaslighters in the most respectful way. Okay, professional racist gaslighters, in my humble opinion. And it doesn't mean they're not right sometimes. It just means that it's a hustle. All right.
All of which was at first denied. And no one turned, they did not come to the family. The family started missing him and searching for him. All of that does not add up. So what we would want to see is something that adds up to saying truth, not adds up to just some loosely connected stories.
The only thing I would add to Reverend Al's answer to your question, what is transparency to us? It is truly having a fair and impartial investigation, as if Nolan, the facts were reversed.
Here we go.
It's inescapable. People often talk about, well, you all keep interjecting race. Well, y'all know in every situation that is a identifier when you're talking about matters. We hear black on black crime. It's inescapable, and so we want to really be able to say to this family, but to America, it was a fair investigation. Everything they did had the roles being reversed racially, where they had 3 young black men and a white man died after being on the boat. You have his cell phone. Those are the things that we're searching for. Did you search their phones? We talking about Nolan's phone. Those are the questions that transparency, the autopsy.
Yeah, Ben is absolutely correct, you guys. He's 100% correct on that. I said this in the last stream where there's a difference between the white and black dynamic, right? Especially in the criminal justice system. There is a privilege. This is a fact that some people have. Everybody has different privileges in this world, right? We're going to talk about a little bit of that. But just to kind of clarify so you can have a better understanding, because I agree with him on this, is that there are times where you can have kids, right? Or like people say, believe all women, right? There are cases where women get the benefit of the doubt in the criminal justice process. Oh, this happened, that happened, and he did it, right? People are likely to give women the benefit of the doubt, and they could be lying through their teeth, okay? And in this case, what you have in a lot of cases in certain cities where they give white boys or white kids the benefit of the doubt because they're white, right? It doesn't seem like something they would lie about, right? Where you see black kids, they don't get the benefit of the doubt in most cases. And this is where justice becomes not blind, right? Where justice is, the blindfolds are wide open. And Miss Lady Justice is looking at skin color, looking at the respectability politics. How does this person look? Does this person look like someone who would commit a crime? Instead of what? Instead of following the evidence, instead of looking at the facts, instead of investigating, being impartial, he's absolutely correct, right? I don't know what the investigators done. They haven't shared anything as of yet. They're not obligated to, but at least not with the public. But you guys, it's one thing when you share it with a victim, the victim's family, and it's another thing when you actually share it with the public. And the family is saying that they have not told us much of anything. They haven't provided any comforting statements like, hey, okay, we've interviewed the boys, we've collected evidence from their phone, we've did a search warrant on their house, they're cooperating. The family's saying the police have not been transparent at all. They are so confused, they're lost, they don't know what's going on, and they wonder whether or not they're having a very fair investigation, and they want transparency. I'm with them 100%. And I think that's where the biggest fail from this police department is not creating not partnering with the family and sharing the things that they can share, and then telling them, hey, listen, I'm going to share some things with you, but I know you guys are back and forth with the media. Please don't reveal some of these things. We want this thing to be kind of low key as possible because we want to make sure we can investigate properly without things and our tactics being exposed. You guys, there's a way to do it, and the fact that they're not doing it, I think, is a little problematic, right? It's the optics is not good, especially again, the historical context and the present day context of Mississippi is not good. They have one of the worst representation reputation in the South as it relates to law enforcement, as it relates to the criminal justice system. That's a fact. All right. Mississippi has one of the worst reputations. And so they should be going above and beyond to ensuring that they're being transparent, that they're making the family comfortable with this investigation. And guess what? Understanding that historical context and allowing that to make sure that they are a lot more transparent than normal because of that. Okay, you're dealing with a victim, the victim's family who are Black, all right, in a state where historically Black people have been taken advantage of, okay? And so I think that's the biggest fail from the police department as I see it so far. And so what Ben is saying, and I spoke about it before in my previous live stream. If you haven't checked it out, I talked about the investigation, following the evidence. Whoever saw him last, you guys, that's primary suspect. That's who I'm talking to. Whoever had the victim's property. You have his keys, you have his car. Guess what? And you have his phone. You are primary suspect, whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter how you feel. You know, I'm sorry. I have to rule you out. Okay. If I have a dead person and I'm investigating that crime and you have his wallet and you're telling me you didn't do it, cool, I hear you, but I need your phone. I need to know where you were, what time you were doing this. I need all that. And so we're going to see whether or not the investigators actually questioned and if they actually did their job thoroughly. And so I'm curious, just like everybody else, as to how this thing is actually being worked out. And so here's another thing. It's been, time has passed, right? The investigator should have jumped on this properly. Why do I say that? What if there is foul play? Okay. And the evidence is on the body of maybe Katie, right? She's one of the last people who's been documented to have seen him alive. Maybe there's evidence on the bodies of the friends. Okay. But guess what? A week, 2 weeks is going by. All those wounds have healed up. The DNA is gone, and things of that nature. I need to get under your fingernails. I need to see what's going on in there, right? I need to see your neck, your hands, your arms. I need to see all those things. I need to see if there's any defensive wounds, right? Like I need to see if there's things on the body, on the victim's body that can correlate to show that there was some type of physical altercation. Is there any bruising on his neck, right? Is there any bruising on any of the boys' necks? Explain to me where you got that from. When did it happen? Who else was there at the time it happened, right? What's another thing? The evidence with his phone. When were if the Snapchat messages were deleted, when were they deleted? And were they deleted at a time where he was missing? If that's the case, guess what? His phone was never with him. So, you're able to investigate and track the evidence from there. Katie says he didn't leave with me. I saw him, we talked. He said he was going back with his friends. But then someone took a picture in the video showing Katie and him together on a boat. Well, guess what? If that time frame overlaps with the time that the boys, his friends, said they got on the boat and left and it was getting towed out, guess what? You guys, they're scot-free. Okay, they're scot-free. And now we're going to be looking at Katie. And so that's the power of evidence, and that's how we follow it. And here's the other thing. If his messages and Snapchats were deleted, guess what? The phone will tell all that during a forensic examination of the phone. The metadata will show all of that information. And if those messages were deleted while they were on mainland Mississippi, okay, the question is going to be, hey, his phone pinged back on these towers at this time. His phone was unlocked via his face, okay, or via his fingerprint. I don't know what kind of phone he has, but the phone registers all that information. And if that phone tells a story that does not align with these boys, they're going to be in trouble, you guys. Because circumstantial evidence is also a thing, right? Yeah, we can't put the murder weapon on you, but you were too close to the crime and your story didn't line up, right? And the circumstances put you as the killer. All right, so the evidence is important. Evidence is so important. All right, so Ben, shout out to Ben for keeping it real. He's absolutely right. Investigate it thorough. Stop assuming that just because they're friends that they're innocent. No, rule them out and do it properly.
See, we waiting for it. It shouldn't take that long. We want those answers. And so transparency is giving complete equity to this family, a fair and thorough, impartial investigation where we know that due process was respected every step of the way. And many have questions. And so we are trying to be respectful.
So this is good. Johnny Walker Dredd said That wouldn't be enough for probable cause. It would be absolutely enough for probable cause. Let me tell you why. Okay. We have the GPS. Here's the problem. The problem is you don't know when he was killed. All right. You don't know when he was killed. And you don't know when he was separated from his cell phone. All right. And so because of that alone, the GPS tracking, the phone is shown to go from one place to another. It's been active. All right. So the GPS tracked the phone to mainland. You don't know when he was killed, but you know his property is at the friend's home. His property, here's the thing. His property, right? He spent the night over at his friend's house prior to going on the 4th of July. So there's evidence there. There's evidence that could suggest that there could have been an altercation inside the house. Just because the boy said he got off the boat and we don't know what happened to him doesn't mean that you cannot investigate them, right? Doesn't mean that you can't connect the dots. At the end of the day, they have his property and they should not have it. All right. And you got to remember, think of it like this. You have a criminal, you have a domestic, you have two couples, husband and a wife. Okay. The husband or the wife winds up dead. All right. The primary suspect is going to be the husband, right? And you're going to always ask, you're going to start with the husband, you're going to ask the husband questions, right? You're going to ask the kids questions. The difference though is, when you have a situation goes from early, the last time you saw your husband was 6 hours ago. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Okay. What happened? Oh, nothing. I saw him, came home. Well, we got a witness who said they saw you guys arguing 6 hours ago, right? That changes the dynamic of everything. Okay, that changes the dynamic of everything. And then he winds up dead. But then the wife is like, well, yeah, I actually accidentally had his phone. Forgot he left it in the car. And I drove off, I went home, and so you remember that you had your husband's phone, he's missing, and did you ever try to call him? We don't see any missed calls. You get what I'm saying? And so that alone ties, that right there, that piece of evidence ties and connects. So for probable cause, you just need to show the nexus. You got to show how things connect. All right. The argument is always going to be, again, you're looking at the evidence. The evidence is that's his property. The property went with the friends all the way to the friend's house. The friends are saying that we don't know how he got off the boat, but guess what? You have someone else saying that no, he left with them. So now you have conflicting statements, right? I can sell this to a judge all day easy and get a warrant signed. Easy. I promise you. All right. I have conflicting statements. She said that he went with them. They're saying he went with her. Okay. But guess what? I have the phone being tracked to his house. You know, is it unlikely? Is it likely that he's going to leave his phone and not take it with him? Right. Then guess what? If I pull the data on the phone, the data shows that his phone was unlocked while it was on mainland. Guess what? It was unlocked and it's pinging at the house of the friend. That's a problem. The phone is at another house where his car is not. Okay. His car is at another location. His phone's at another location. So little things like that allow you to build a case for probable cause. And it's enough for you to get a search warrant. It's enough for you to get their phones and get them lawyered up, obviously. Right. So that's a big thing. That GPS thing on the phone is a big deal.
And collaborative, as much as we can, we will hope that they will give the same to us.
Attorney Crump, we talked before about situations like this, and I'm just wondering, does it bother you a little bit that we don't have that news conference where officials are given a timeline, where they map things out for what they know, where they share as much information as they have with the public? Because obviously people are paying attention.
Yeah, you know, Ryan, it's always troublesome to all of us when these investigations just take forever. I mean, 6 months to get a toxicology report back, to get an autopsy done, as if, you know, the longer we let it go, the more people forget, other things happen, it gets swept under the rug. And so that's what's important, to have a timeline. And when you don't have that timeline, you start to say, oh, what? Yeah, what? Nolan Wells, what happened? I mean, I remember that case, but we got no answers. And so that's the trouble without having a timeline. And so that's why the people who are calling us, I mean, we have people presenting videos, and it's so helpful as we try to put this puzzle together. People are talking about their boats and when they were out there and when they were in earshot of Nolan and people on the boat. We need all of that information because we want to make sure what goes to the grand jury is accurate.
Right.
We know when it goes to the grand jury, we never will know what happened in that grand jury. That's why we're collecting affidavits. Did this get presented to the grand jury? It's never lost on me. It's never lost on me. You can get an indictment on a ham sandwich in the grand jury if you want to. The question is, are you trying to get to the truth? Or are you trying to help keep the truth hidden from us? And that's what we're fighting for. The last thing I would say is this, and it's important. You know, there are people who are presenting videos, photographs that may show Nolan was on the boat with the person, Katie. We got to fully bet that I respect so much what my mentor, Reverend Al, said up there.
First of all, this is where Crump shows his lack of IQ, right? First of all, affidavits. I don't know. I question a lot of things, you guys. I don't know where he got his law degree from. Maybe he just isn't articulate. Maybe he's smart, but he's just not articulate. That's the thing. Okay. But Lord have mercy. So affidavits. So you can dot a ham sandwich. My issue with Crump is he's not in it for, he doesn't fact check anything, right? He's turned his channel into a gossip blog. And the problem I have with him is he weaponizes racism, period. That's the issue. He weaponizes racism. And if he doesn't have it, if it doesn't exist, he wants nothing to do with it. He wants nothing to do with it. He's a race ambulance chaser, right? Essentially is what you see here. Granted, and again, like I said, there's benefits to a celebrity. There's a benefits to these activists' celebrity status, but they're not genuine. My issue is they're not genuine. And it's this whole, cry wolf, then nobody believes you when it's actually real. Okay. And that's the problem I have with a lot of these color justice warriors, as I like to call them, is that when it is a real thing, it's hard to get people to support the initiative when they've seen you cause so much BS down the years. And do we know? Yeah, racism exists, systemic racism and white supremacy. Like, okay, I get it. Every case is not that, though, right? Every case is not that. He just made a statement, and this is the issue where he's so reckless, you guys. He's so reckless with his platform. He did this earlier, and it's something we're going to talk about when he posted a picture of Nolan Wells at a pool party, and he insinuated, right? He insinuated without fact checking that this picture was taken July 5th. Okay. And he irresponsibly put that information out there and had the entire internet going wild. And unfortunately, you guys, this country is inundated with imbeciles. Okay. Where there's a lot of color justice warriors in this country where all they see is color. Okay. All they see is race. And again, there's no evidence to suggest that this was racist, right? There's no evidence to suggest that it's not. There's no evidence to suggest that this is murder, and there's no evidence to suggest that it's not. Okay, let's be very clear on that. We don't have it. We just don't have it. People have a feeling, they have an intuition. People think because this happened in Mississippi and because his friends are white, that this is racist and that they killed him. You guys, that's kind of ignorant to think. Right? That's you're moving a little too quickly. And the backlash behind this case, where now you have black folks saying, hey, it's the parents' fault. They should have taught their kid not to see, to see race. You guys, that's crazy. You know what I mean? There's just so much. There's so much behind this case that's just has been showing the hearts of people. Just showing people's hearts. Now, here's a crazy thing. We've had cases like this, and it was all black. And the friends beat up and killed someone and tried to make it look like an accident. This happens all the time. And it happens to white friends with their white victim friends. It happens to blacks and black victim friends. You guys, this is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. And it's this false righteous disposition that some black folks like to have in regard to this case. You would think that we just aren't killing each other in situations, right? Like, you would just think that this is so beneath us, that this doesn't happen. You guys, this happens to everybody. All right. And just because the friends are white and the victim's black doesn't mean it's racist. And it doesn't mean they killed them. All right. And so I just want us all to just slow down. Slow down. Okay. Of course, people are like, they got attorneys. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get an attorney. Now, the real question is, are they cooperating? Are they cooperating? Someone says, anyone who can't see this case as not racism is out of touch. I would argue, when you guys come up, tell me, what about this case is racism? What about this case is racism? What evidence do you have to support that outside of your feelings? All right, we're gonna get into it. Tell me more than just your feelings. All right, what evidence versus what you feel like? All right, I'm really curious. Right? Show me. Show me. You got to show me. Where's your evidence? You have to show me that. Because what if it comes out this had nothing to do with his friends and this has something to do with a woman and a woman's family, right? Or what if it has something to do with something totally different? What if it was an accident? What if he really drowned? What if, people drown all the time, you guys, all the time. But, and again, I get it. And I'm not saying I believe the family is in their right. I think they're very, very well in their right to be concerned and question, so we're going to talk about it. Hold that energy. I want you to come up here and tell me, show me the evidence that this is racist. You gotta show me. You gotta show it to me.
I want to go wherever the truth leads us. We want the truth. No.
Here, I gotta stop it again. But here's another thing: the way the case is being handled. You don't know how the case is being handled. You don't know how the case is being handled. The police aren't obligated to tell you how they're investigating this case, you guys. You guys are entitled, right? Citizens, we've become so entitled. That's just not how it works. They don't owe you any explanation. We are citizens. We're not the victims. We're not the family. We are living in a social media microwave society that we believe that they're supposed to stop and show us and walk us through everything that they're doing. You guys, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I understand how you feel. It just doesn't work like that. They're not obligated to do that, right? They're only obligated to working with the family, the victims, right? We don't know. You know, we don't know. And they've interviewed 60 people. The FBI are actively involved. You don't know what they're doing. Because they haven't revealed anything doesn't mean they're not doing their job. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I do understand why people feel that way, but you don't know that. You just don't. I don't know that, right? And I did the job. And I'm telling you, don't know that. There's plenty of high-profile investigations I've been a part of. We don't tell people nothing. And we don't have to, you guys. We don't have to. So I hear what you're saying, but you're wrong. You know, you're wrong. Someone said, explain the closed casket. It's a family's decision. What do you mean explain it? That's not art. You see what you see where this entitlement comes from? You believe that they're entitled to have the casket open for you. That's not your child. That's not your child, you guys. You know, people are mad that she even has people are mad that she's collecting donations. You know, people are mad about that. People are mad that she invited the media. You guys, this is their family. They can do what they want to do. That's their child. If they don't want to open casket, that's their business. That's their business. Right? And who's to say the body's even in there? What if the body is still at the place getting examined? Right? We don't know. We just don't know, you guys. This entitlement, explain the closed casket. They didn't want the casket open. Maybe the body's cremated. So, you know.
No matter who it implicates or exonerates. We want justice no matter who it acquits or convicts. So we know they're telling two different stories. You know, the boy's telling one story, Katie telling one story. What is the truth?
One more question, just obviously mom and dad, thank you for doing these conferences with us, but so many people from the community, both black and white, showed up today. Coaches said that they would love to have your son be their son. When you hear men and teammates reflect on your son's life in the way they have, can you explain to us what that sounds like in your hearts?
To me, that sounds like me and my wife did an excellent job at raising a fine young man.
Yes.
Nolan was loved by many, both young and old. He helped a lot of people. No matter if you were regular or handicapped, people still love Nolan. He would help special needs. He would help special needs kids all the time. Basketball, teach them how to play basketball. I mentioned in my speech about getting phone calls and emails. There was a father who asked Nolan to help his special needs son train for basketball, and Nolan did it willingly. And that made that kid's day. And he seen me out one day and he couldn't stop thanking me and praising me enough for the son that I raised and how much they meant to his son. So as far as I'm concerned, we did a great job.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
One more question. Couple Daily 4.5. We were asking, did you guys ever get the incident report back? We know it was an issue getting it.
No, we brought that up in our meeting, so hopefully we will address that. Won't be today, but we will address that.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Ken. I'm from DFW Night Shift Crime.
Here's the problem I have. Why haven't they got the incident report? Right? He's saying they haven't got an incident report yet. You know, listen, there's some things that to me, again, I don't like how the police department is handling this case. I don't like the way they're managing the family during this. So yeah, things seem a little off, absolutely seem off. And I think calling it out and holding these conferences, exposing some of the things that they're not getting, and showing people, hey, this is what's actively going on. I think it's very, very important. And so I think this is interesting, just to kind of hear like what they received and what they haven't received. What I want to know is the I think it was some type of park ranger or something who found Nolan. Guess what, you guys? He's a suspect too, right? He's a suspect too. If I'm investigating, I want to know, what were you doing when you found him, how he found him, and I'm tracking your movements as well, right? And you guys, everybody's a suspect. Everybody's a suspect. You know, I'm looking at everyone. What time did you find the body? The body's face down in the same. Okay, cool. I don't think they knew that the father was out on the island looking for his son the day before and didn't see the body, and the body washed up, right? So I'm looking at everything. Everybody has to be ruled out. Everybody. All right. So I think there was something else they said on here. Let me just fast forward.
And I had him, but also to United Cajun Navy. Big help. Boots on the ground almost immediately after I spoke with Josh Gill. So, you know, we have to remember those types of organizations in our communities, and utilize them, but also give back to them. So that is our hope, that we'll be able to give as much as we've been given during this time.
Yes.
Stephen Smith with the Associated Press. Is there any update to the independent autopsy that you guys requested?
Sure. And just on that last question, very good question. Christine and Elmore and Cliff Jones and Lisa Park at the office, they talk frequently, and that's one of the things she stressed at the funeral service. She wanted to celebrate his life and define what his legacy will be. So we look forward to working to define his legacy. Nobody else is going to define his legacy but the people who knew him best.
Sorry.
Yeah. As it relates to the independent autopsy, we are looking to have findings sooner rather than later. Obviously, you want stuff from the first autopsy because they had the body closer to time. We got the body almost 6 days later, Dr. Roger Mitchell. So there are limitations as to what he could do. So, you know, you do the best you can, but there are unanswered questions. So he's getting his report together. I believe it will be coming very soon. Yeah.
Let me take one. I'm gonna take three more. 1, 2.
Yeah, so that's the word on the autopsy. What it sounds like is, again, they want to push the hand of the state, right? They want the state to release their autopsy first, see if there's going to be any contradictions. All right, so I think it's interesting, or it could be they don't have any strong evidence to suggest foul play. All right. So you guys, we don't really know. And when that autopsy comes out, you know, there's been a lot of people making up stories online. I've heard so many things. If it's not confirmed by the parents or by, hell, you can't even really confirm things from Ben Crump because he puts out a lot of propaganda as well. But if it's not co-signed by the parents during like an interview, you guys, you're not going to hear me repeat it as a fact. All right, we'll talk about the theories that people are talking about, but we're not going to say this is what happened. And we talked to some friend on social media, put out these statements. You guys, Crump is good at creating false narratives. He's mastered it. Okay, he's mastered it. And he's put out information today and prior that hasn't been confirmed. Here's my theory. If there was foul play and the body was seen by Crump and Sharpton, I guarantee you they would have led with that. There would have been nothing holding them back from being able to share that information, you guys. So it doesn't make sense if they're holding on to his body as foul play. You know, his body shows, or there's evidence to suggest that he was brutally beaten, or that he was murdered. You guys, they would lead with that. They would lead with that. I don't believe they would hold on to that information. That's not their style. All right. And if they do have that information, and that is and that is in fact what's going on, then the only play would be to see what the state is going to do, and if they're going to put out some false information, and then they counter them with factual information, and then with that they expose how corrupt, right, the ME's office, how corrupt that investigative team is, and that will blow the lid on a lot of other cases. So imagine if you are the medical examiner for Mississippi, for the state, and you have been falsely reporting certain evidence and analyzing evidence on bodies, say other Black bodies that may have died, and there's been some suspicious deaths. They're going to reopen the lid on all of those cases, every last one of them. Okay. So maybe that is his game plan. Maybe that is what he's trying to do. And we won't know until these things get dropped, right? So I like it. You know what I mean? Honestly, the problem though with this case is that there are so many people online making up stuff that it's becoming quite dangerous, right? And it's created a lot of unhealthy dialogue between white and Black people. So let's go ahead and just finish this up. How much longer is this one?
And we'll come back to you.
Janelle Griffith with People Magazine. I also want to extend my condolences, and I wanted to know when that might take place. And the other was that at the end of the last press conference, you said that, Ben, you said you wanted everybody's cell phones looked at. So that, to me, that meant the other young men that were with Nolan that day. Did you communicate that to the DA, and what did she say? If so, have they analyzed their phones? Do they plan to?
I did communicate that to the district attorney. Whether they're going to do that, that's a question that you have to ask them. But we thought that it's only fair, if we're going to look at Nolan's phone, we should look at the other people who were with Nolan that day. Because, again, we just want equal justice. We think that if Nolan was on that boat, roles were reversed, they would look at his phone. And so that is going to be important. We have not established a time yet of when we're going to do the mutual inspection of the cell phone. We have to do some technical things. We're getting our experts together, working with phone companies and so forth. But we hope to do that sooner rather than later. This was a big first step for the family getting through the day. So now we can get laser focused on all those things to finish this investigation.
Will Polson with WLOX. Ben, you had mentioned that it had been a couple of days, I think you had said 6 days, since after the state's autopsy was done before you were able to get access to the body. I know whenever it first came out, it was being flown to DC and then autopsy planned for that Friday. Can you confirm when that autopsy was done?
They had weather issues, so I do think they got the body Friday night or Saturday morning, around that time.
Is that the same day that the autopsy was?
I can't confirm that. I know they received the body, and I think they immediately went to it. It would be in the report the date they did the autopsy. Yes.
Miss Selena Charles, for Purpose for the People. You guys are supposed to be having a rally on the 26th.
All right, we're gonna stop it there. Let me see. There's one more video that I want to play, but I want to just talk about this real quick because I know it's gonna be a point of contention, and I'm gonna drop the link so you guys can start coming up. I'll definitely want to hear your thoughts, especially after I play this next clip. This one is gonna be with I saw this debate with Brandon Tatum and who else was it? I think it's another lady on here. I forgot the lady's name. Teslin Figaro. There's things she says I like. There's things I don't like about her, right? Not a fan of some of the things that she says. Brandon Tatum, not a fan of some of the things that he says. So shout out to Brandon. You know, he has a huge platform, huge following. I've had an opportunity to interview him on this channel, and we talked about a lot of cases. We talked about a lot of controversial cases. I got a chance to pick his brain and get his perspective as to why me and him have polar views. There's things that we agree on now, right? There's cases, I would say, that we agree on. And there are a lot of cases that we don't agree on. All right. And so me as a use of force expert, I look at what we're trained to do and what we're not trained to do. Whereas I believe Brandon, a lot of times, he likes to give police the benefit of the doubt. And I'm more so explaining what these processes look like and how it's supposed to work and how the training is supposed to reflect in our behaviors, right? I don't just give a blanket blind pass to police officers. I believe that we're held to a higher standard and the expectation is such, right? And so we need to make sure we can live through that or do our jobs properly and be professional. All right, so we're gonna go over that interview. I'm gonna drop the link though. And if you're interested in coming up and giving your thoughts, you wanna express to me why you think this is racist, or why it's not, or your thoughts, you know, I definitely want to get your opinions. Come up here, give your 5-minute spill. Let's talk about it. I'll definitely bring you guys up. Just make sure you're kind of sitting still in a stable place and your camera is on, and we can have a discussion. All right. But this last clip though, so it's Tatum's a joke. Shout out to Tatum's cool. He's cool. He's different. You know, he has a different perspective. I respect his views. You know, over here, you guys, all people are welcome. I don't censor over here on this channel. YouTube censors. I don't censor. So I'm always open to people's perspective and their opinions. All right. Let's see. But this one is going to be a good discussion. Let me drop this into the chat so you guys can have, and then we can get y'all started. So to my moderators, I appreciate you guys. Also, let me get into this. Shout out to Successful MD for this $5 super chat. Thank you so much. What a blessing. Says the reward money shouldn't be an issue. We see rewards offered often with other people. Even the FBI offers rewards. Why are the main MS people so quiet? I think the reward money is a great idea. I think it's a phenomenal idea. I think it's good. I think it shows confidence in what you're doing, and you want to get people you want people to come out and share what they have. And it also puts more pressure on the police department, right? And the investigators to say, hey, there's money back in this case. There's eyes on this case. We can't afford to play around. None of that, whatever foolishness. A lot of people, there's eyes on a lot of people. And, you know, and of course, one of the friends, mother's a judge, stepmother's a judge, you know, so there's going to be eyes on that. So again, I think the reward money is right on time. It's right on time. And it shows confidence, man. It shows that they truly believe that this case, there's something suspicious about it. And they don't believe that this is an accident. They don't believe it's an accident drowning at all. I'm not mad at them for thinking that. I just believe we follow the evidence and kind of ignore all the other foolishness on the outside. But shout out to you for that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So let's see. I don't know. Someone said I don't side with Brandon. Someone said I don't side with Tatum, but the statement he made about Crump was on point. We're about to see what's up. We're about to play this real quick because I think this is the right clip. So bear with me. I'm about to go ahead and pull this up. I only saw a partial. It was a great conversation.
Yesterday, we told you about newly released audio that the boat Wells was on broke down and needed assistance. That call came in around 4:30 p.m. And while according to the Wells family and their attorney, Ben Crump, the teen was last seen on the island around 3 p.m. And they insist that they don't believe their son would intentionally stay behind on his own. Wells' mother, Christine Wansley, turned to social media and shared video of how she's dealing with the loss of her son. Watch.
This loss, this grief, this pain, it's different. It's insurmountable. And then it's like you get these flood of emotions all at different times, and grief is so multi-layered. You know, one second I might be okay and I can talk about things and I can listen to his stories. And then the next minute I am falling apart and I feel like I can't breathe. And I feel like there is an elephant just sitting on my chest.
All right, watch this. Hear that? That's my wallet. So this is what most wallets still look like.
For the family. We hope we can get them some answers too. Joining me now and soon. Joining me now is Revolt News Chief Political Correspondent Teslin Figaro and former police officer and host of Officer Tatum's show, Brandon Tatum.
First, before I say anything, this guy, I was listening to this on the car ride home today, and I said, "Oh, this is perfect for us to talk about." I didn't get a chance to finish all of it. It's only 8 minutes. We're going to play here. Then I'm going to bring you guys up. If you want to come up and have the discussion, you're more than welcome. But I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of her. I'm not a fan of her. She does have some good points. There's things she says that I do agree with, and there's things I don't, right? Same thing with Brandon. Everything he says I don't agree with. Some things I do, right? It just is what it is. All right. But I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on this one. This one gets crazy. So yeah, here we go.
Great to see both of you. Thanks for being here. So Brandon, let's start with you. Just from a law enforcement perspective, what do you make of the timeline, the lack of answers, what maybe occurred here?
Well, I think the first thing is that these activists came in and brought in information or lies about circumstances to make people question. The law enforcement officers have already done an autopsy. They've already investigated. There's no sign of foul play. And one thing that's very interesting that I just found out recently is that it wasn't a situation where you have Nolan Wells and 4 of the kids at an island. There's thousands of people there. There's hundreds of different boats. So him staying behind while some of his other friends went back to the mainland wasn't that suspicious. I really wish that the family would focus on Nolan Wells' life, focus on the investigation, and let the police do their job instead of interjecting race into this situation. And it's completely unnecessary to be there at this point.
So Teslin, you've worked with Ben Crump. You have value.
All right, we're gonna get it. We're gonna go ahead and keep it real. Brandon is correct, you guys. When this first incident came out, in my mind, the first thing I said was, damn, there's a lot of people to investigate out there, right? Of course, with an investigation like this, you start with who saw him last. All right, that's where you start with the investigation. Who saw him last and what happened after that? And you just follow, you guys. The main suspects for me, if I'm looking at this case, the 3 friends and the girl Katie. All right, that means this thing could have went 2 different directions. Either they went with him, or he went with them, or he went with her. Okay, meaning he either got on that boat and left, or he stayed on the island. If he stayed on the island, this investigation goes from 1 person or 4 people to now over 500 plus people I need to investigate, you guys. And so now I'm tracking his movement. Who saw him? If I can get someone to just say he was on that island at 5 p.m., you guys, those boys they're good to go. They're off the hook for now, right? They're off the hook. What do I mean by that? At 4:30, they made it a 911 call. Their boat's taking water, and they're going back to mainland. And somebody sees him. They can confirm, timestamp him via video or photo that Nolan is on the island alive at 5 o'clock. You guys, those 3 boys are free. They're free. That's the game, you guys. That's the game. But I find it hard to believe, right, that we have no updates, no timeline of anybody saying who saw him at 4:35. Who saw him at 4:35, 5 p.m.? Who? There has to be something. Something isn't making sense in this case, right? And so again, this is where I start and launch my investigation. These 4, and I go from there. All right. Now, Brandon's saying that they did an autopsy. The autopsy has not been released. Okay, has not been released from the state. We don't know what the autopsy says. All we know is that someone made a statement, improper statement, and said that it doesn't appear to be signs of foul play before an autopsy was completed. And so what does that mean? It means one of two things. If that sheriff, Leadbetter, saw the body himself and he eyeballed it, right? As police officers, we're not supposed to make those type of conclusive statements because we're not medical professionals, right? We're not. That's why we're not allowed to call the time of death on a crime scene. We're just not. Okay. The first thing you go to trial, they're gonna be like, "Are you a medical? How did you know how to test? How do you know his breathing wasn't faint? How do you know? Do you know how to properly check for a pulse?" Right. So for him to say that there's no sign of foul play is crazy, because you can't do the extensive and intricate investigation on the body like a medical examiner is supposed to, from the autopsy, to see if there was something wrong. What if he had a crushed rib? Okay. What if he had some internal puncturing, internal bruising? You can't eyeball that, right? What if he was poisoned? You can't eyeball that. So for you to say there's no sign of foul play, that is way out of line, especially for a case this sensitive. The sheriff was wrong. He was wrong, you guys. And Brandon is wrong on that statement as well, right? And so he rushed to judgment, made a statement he should not have made, and it wasn't qualified to make without the full completion of the autopsy, if that makes sense. All right, so let's keep going.
Little insight into how he operates. You're not speaking for him tonight, but what do you think about the timeline and whether it determines whether Nolan was still alive before the boat left the island, like his friends insist?
Yeah, thank you, Katie. I'm speaking as a mom, of a 19-year-old. In the same way Officer Tatum wishes that people would not insert lies, I wish Officer Tatum would allow the investigation, the independent investigation, to run its course. You don't know, Mr. Tatum, what has been talked about in this investigation. It has not been complete, and people have not came forward to say what happened with Nolan Wells. So I actually do believe his parents when they said that they taught their son to leave with whoever you came with. So for you to make the accusations that is a lie when they're burying their son on Monday is, quite frankly, to be disgusting, Officer Tatum.
Well,
and I'm ashamed.
You know what's funny? I hope that you're paying attention to this, because.
All right, so let me stop her. What she said, I agree with her 100%. That's exactly what I just said. She's 100% correct, right? So this is the part that you're gonna start seeing exposed about this young lady, beautiful young lady, actually, that I do not care for. You already see her getting ready to interject. She's setting up the stage for an emotional argument. All right. She can get very loud. She can get very argumentative. And then she can turn it and make it about something that it's not. And you can already see that she's already setting it up for some personal jabs, right? She's already setting it up. And so this is where I feel like where communication starts to break down, when you start attacking the person versus attacking the facts. All right.
There's a lot of information that had come out, and I've gotten firsthand knowledge about some things that have happened on that island, and people are going to be ashamed of themselves for sitting here lying and pushing racism in this circumstance.
Well,
I don't know what happened, but I do know. I'll let you finish. I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just saying I got firsthand knowledge too. But as we're talking about right now, talking about right now, you made the accusation that there were lies, that race has been interjected. Like I said last week, if people don't want people to speculate, then investigate. So this.
Well, that was fair, Brandon. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that topic, because Ben Crump is notorious and has been criticized by people who have used him in the past for their cases of being an ambulance chaser, pushing a narrative that fits the racial lens that he wants it to. You've talked about this on your podcast and how you believe young Black men are unfortunately killed every single day. And people like Ben Crump and Al Sharpton just highlight certain stories that benefit them rather than the families.
Well, let's keep it real. This is all about money. Benjamin Crump will never show up to a kid's funeral or say anything about a kid that's killed by another black kid. But if there's an opportunity to interject racism into a situation where there's no evidence of racism, Benjamin Crump will be there to do it. What is his end goal? He's not a criminal. He's not a criminal attorney. So he's not going to help the family get justice on a criminal level. He's a civil rights attorney. You don't need a civil rights attorney in a case where you're wondering if the investigation is going right for your son, unless you believe this has something to do with racism.
Let him finish, and then I'll let you talk. Okay, let him finish his point, and then I'll let
he's
you
going on
respond.
a diatribe. So
No, he's not. He's speaking, and I'll let you respond as soon as he's done making his point.
Katie, I'll let the young lady go. Go ahead. I would love to hear what you got to say to that.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Officer Tate. Thank you. Well, let's just once again, speaking about things that you don't know about. Katie, you set it up with talking about Ben Crump being notorious for race baiting. I could name a couple of things that Officer Tatum here is also notorious for. So let's be careful on how we.
we don't need these personal attacks.
I'm gonna finish my statement. I'm gonna finish my statement, and let me also correct you on something else, Mr. Tatum. When you said Ben Crump would never show up for a black kid that was murdered by a black kid, my cousin Jordan Turner, who was 19 and was murdered by another black kid that also went away with his friends and never returned home, guess who showed up? Attorney Benjamin Crump. I know you're looking confused. See, this is why it's important that you
was that related to black people? Was black people involved in his death?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, that's
and
one.
they were convicted, and they were convicted.
And we didn't hear about it plastered all over the media. That's a big difference.
This is why you don't know. This is why you should speak of what you know and not what you heard. So again, when it comes down to Nolan Wells, I ask that we use this time to ask people to come forward and speak about what they know. The young man did not come home, Brandon. He didn't come home. So let's use this time, instead of focusing on what people are saying in the comments, let's continue to stay in.
Brandon, I mean, Ben Crump is the one making this a conversation in the media. Ben Crump is the one making this a conversation in the media. He's the one pushing this out there, so people do speculate ahead of the investigation, not letting it play out. But Brandon, I want to ask you this question. Teslin, 1 second. Brandon, there's been a lot of accusation and pushing that Nolan Wells' white friends have not been questioned enough, as if they were somehow responsible for his death based on race. That seems like a highly irresponsible narrative to be pushing, especially when we don't know all of the facts yet.
100%. It is a flat out lie. The police department isn't doing their investigation. They're doing it fair and properly. Benjamin Crump cannot come out right now and say that the investigation isn't going like it should. They're interjecting race into something that has nothing to do with race. These boys were friends. The coach came out, who happened to be a black man, that said he don't believe race is a factor. These boys grew up together. These boys go to school together. This is a tragic situation, and they should leave it at what it is, and that's a tragedy. Let the investigation unfold. Benjamin Crump they're already out saying this has something to do with race because the boy was with white guys. That is asinine.
Just like you described it just like you describe it when you talk about black on black crime constantly. So what a young black boy went with his white friends and didn't come back. So why are you not asking the white children to speak up? Nobody saw nothing, Brandon.
They are speaking. They are speaking.
All right,
we gotta run.
Got to do anything.
We got to run. We hope that the family can get some answers because a young man is dead, and we want his family to have closure. Teslin Figaro and Brandon Tatum, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Ooh. I don't know. I hate when arguments get derailed like that. Because I don't even know. It's almost like, what did we accomplish in that? Right. It became a yelling match, kind of like a, attacking this person's person. Here's the thing. They're talking about Ben Crump, and then it became about attacks about Tatum. Right. I don't agree with everything he says. I have my issues with Tatum and how he interprets encounters with police and things of that nature. And I talk about it on my channel here when those cases come up. And there's some things that he's right about as far as police procedures, and there's things I don't agree with his perspective on. And again, if you guys haven't seen that interview me and him did, it was a great interview. We had a great conversation, and you get to see that dynamic, a different perspective, right? With this discussion here with them, it's Brandon brought up race first, right? And he's in the conversation. He says that Ben Crump, Al Sharp, these guys interjected race into this. The power of the media, you guys, is the ability to get you to come to a conclusion without them telling you, right? Making you believe that it was your idea. You connected the dots together on your own, right? What did they say, right? Like they show you the picture, they tell you the person's missing, and automatic, you look at it and you say, because the friends are white, they had something to do with it. That is your first rush to judgment without having any information at all, right? And I think that that's dangerous. At the same time, assuming that it cannot be race related is also dangerous, right? I just think that the problem overall is that we get lost in these conversations and the facts get ignored. That's my issue. The facts get ignored. Shout out to you, Successful MD says, should we say people have Crump delusion syndrome? Man, I think I've caught Crump in a couple lies, you guys. A couple lies. I don't trust him. I don't trust him because he racially gaslights Black people. He does. You know, I've caught him in several lies, misleading people, misrepresenting the facts, flat out lying about stuff. And so to me, and he's an attorney. They lie to win cases. They're professional liars. They're word wizards. That's what they do, you guys. They manipulate words. They get you to think things that aren't real to win a case. All right. They'll do anything to win a case. All I'm saying is I don't think he's as genuine as people think he is. And just because he's fighting for, or he's coming off as if he's fighting for a cause, doesn't mean he's genuine about the cause and the outcome of it. All right. Shout out to Easy for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support. Listen, you guys, this is your time to shine. You know, this is your time to shine, meaning you can come up. You know, if you have questions in the chat, I'm gonna ask some questions. We're gonna take the next 30 minutes to bring up any callers. If you come up and you have thoughts, you want to share how you feel about this case, I absolutely want to hear it. And I have some questions for you guys, right? I definitely have some questions for you. I want to know how you feel about this. Is this racism? Right? Is this racism? Tell me how. Tell me what evidence you have to suggest that this all of a sudden these white boys are responsible. You know, I'm hearing people talk about the parents, insulting the parents, saying that the parents failed their son and it's their fault that he died. Right? People have been saying the most disgusting and just the most ignorant things online. You know, saying that, I guess the father made a statement and said, hey, we raised them not to see color. You know, people are saying that's your fault. Y'all should have raised them properly. You know, you guys, I was raised not to see color either. And that's the problem. We still have people out here raising their kids to see color. No, I was taught to not see color, but I was also taught, right, that there are people who do. But not to be like them, not to lower yourself and be like them. And they are ignorant. There's something wrong with them, right? I was taught to see people by their character, how they treat you, how they move, you know. I wasn't taught to see color. You guys, that's the problem. You know, someone in the live stream, my last live stream said, can Black people be racist? Yes. 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 Black people can be racist. Absolutely can be racist. And if you disagree, I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love for you to come up here and tell me why Black people can't be racist. I have seen the most disgusting and just diabolical statements coming from the Black community involving this case, from disrespecting the parents, telling the parents have failed him and that he died, it's their fault because they didn't teach him not to play with white kids, right? So, you know, I'm seeing all these things. Mind you, there's plenty of Black kids who grew up around white kids, got white friends, and they're still alive to this day. You know, there's evil people everywhere, you guys. We talk about cases all the time within the Black community where friends go out to a hotel and then all of a sudden one of the Black girls, she winds up in a kitchen freezer. And out of all the friends at the hotel party, nobody wants to talk about how she got in the freezer. And these are all Black kids. We got a girl that friends go out to Mexico and they beat her to death. And then they, guess what? Doctored up the evidence. Everybody made it home but her. You know, this happens everywhere to anybody. And the moment it happens, when you start having a white friend or a Black friend, all of a sudden the death is because of race. Whereas anywhere else, anybody else, it's because of what the facts are: jealousy, anger, right? Ego, pride, stupidity, you name it. You name it. And that's the issue that I have, is that all of a sudden we forget the facts of a case because of race. The facts don't matter because of race, right? Why does the color of the friends matter? If they committed a crime, they committed a crime. And when you find out the motive, what if the motive was, I don't know, they got into a fight. Best friends got into a fist fight, knocked him cold. He fell overboard. He drowned. They covered it up. Has nothing to do with race. But these color justice warriors, you guys, they want it to be about race every time. They just can't see past a person's skin color. I want to know. Yeah, I want to know. Let's see who's coming up. Let me drop the link. Let me drop the link. Who's coming up? Who's coming up? Let me drop the link. Let me make sure they got the whole new setup on this thing. You got it? Okay, cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Common Man, I'm gonna bring you up. Let me get your thoughts. Listen, you guys, I'm gonna give you thoughts, give you a spill, 5 minutes. I'm gonna rotate you out. That way you get everybody a chance to share their thoughts on this. Common Man, I'm about to bring you up. What's good, brother? Long time no see. How you been?
Hey, what's up, man? How you been?
Man,
you might have disappeared. Nobody, I was like, where the hell is man at, man? You ain't been up here in a while. Man,
that's true.
Heard about you, man. You a cop, man. You a former cop. We don't know what somebody might have done to you, man.
Nah, man, I've been traveling and just laying low, man. And you know what's funny? Everything on YouTube, I feel like it's not meant for me to speak on sometimes, you know? Mm-hmm. And I never want to feel like I'm chasing headlines. So I try to leave some of the most impactful things that I feel like I can really bring a good perspective to. And sometimes I like to wait and see how things play out as well. But in this case, was definitely very interesting for me. What are your thoughts? I know a lot has been said so far, but let me see. I know some people in the chat. Shout out to this brother right here. Come on up, man. I want to hear your thoughts. He said they see color first and foremost. Yeah, but you can't speak for all white folks, because that's not true. You know, that's not true. You guys got to remember, before you get busy, Common Man, let me just say this. You guys act like you guys don't like to be stereotyped. We don't like to be stereotyped. Give every other race the same courtesy you guys are asking for. You don't like to be stereotyped? Cool. Then don't stereotype others. That's the energy I'm coming with tonight. You know, Common Tom, man, what are your thoughts on this case?
Okay, let me start off first by saying Black people or African Americans cannot be racist. Racism deals with power.
Okay.
We don't have that. We don't have that political or religious power to be racist. We can be bigoted, yeah, but not racist. We can't stop nobody from living in a neighborhood. We can't stop nobody from getting a job. We can't stop nobody from starting a business who's not Black. We can't do that's racism. Okay, so see, over the years, for some reason, it got mixed up. They started to mistake prejudice and bigotry for racism. Racism is a whole entire system. It deals with everything that affects your life. You see, and we don't have that power. All right, we just ain't got it. Now, as far as
all right, hold on, pause before you move too far on that. Let me interject on that because I disagree. What I'll say is that you're not wrong, all right, but you're not accurate. And why do I say that? Because words have meaning. These words have already been defined. And what we've seen is that over time, they have evolved that definition, or that word has evolved. Just like you have some words, you have a definition 1, you got definition 2. And so the truth is, no, racism is very specific definition. There are different descriptions of racism. You have a systemic, what you're referring to as systemic racism. Yeah, but racism and racist is a very unique thing, and that applies to anybody if it applies to the elements of that definition. If that group satisfies the elements of that definition, you are in their fact a racist, and you can practice racism. Can you practice systemic racism? That's a different conversation. What you're referring to is, do Black people have the ability to enforce systemic racism on other groups? That's a different conversation. I'm asking you, can Black people be racist? That's a very unique and specific definition that has not and cannot be changed. That is what it is. We cannot redefine words because we want it to look a certain way, or we're in disagreement with certain things. We can't change words. That definition exists, and it is not exclusive to white people. Do you agree?
No, because as I came up during a period where racism was racism.
Okay.
I came up during the late 60s and 70s and 80s when it was racism.
Define racism. Define racist to me. How do you define racist? What's the definition?
A racist is a white or a group of people, primarily white, who have the power to change and control your life. Okay, that's a racist. All right.
That's how you would define it.
Yeah. Bigot is somebody who doesn't like somebody because of the color of their skin, or prejudice is somebody who doesn't like somebody because of the color of their skin.
But see, that's not what bigoted means.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. That's not the definition of it. Someone dropped the definition. You're gonna pull up Webster's definition of bigot, pull up Webster's definition of racist.
Okay, find it. But this is what I was taught.
That's fine.
Let me explain something. All right.
Okay.
We grew up with these words. We were taught these words have this specific meaning. Okay. You got bigoted, you got bigotry, you got prejudice, you got racist, and you got racism. Okay. That's what we were taught that from I think it was like something like 4th, 5th grade, all the way through high school and through college. Okay. We were taught that. All right. Now, unless they've changed over like the last 40 years, 35 years, that's where I always see racist and racism. All right. Now, I see you guys today, y'all use the term like it could be anybody. I don't see it as being anybody because nobody can be racist or use their racism toward me. They can be bigoted toward me or prejudiced toward me, but they have no power to be racist toward me or use racism toward me unless they go to a white person and use his power to be racist towards me. You see what I mean? Like, for example, an Asian person can't tell me what to do and tell me how to do it. All right, because in the hierarchy in this country, I'm above him, whether he want to believe it or not. But if he got a good friend who's a white person, and he goes to his white friend can come and use the system to come and attack me and do something to harm me.
So to your point, only white people can be racist
in America. Yeah.
So are Asian people? You don't think Asian people can be racist?
Not toward me, no.
So can Asian people be racist? Can Asian people be racist to white people?
Not in America, no.
So racist. So you're saying the definition of racism only applies in America when a white person is discriminating against, and they have power, are discriminating against a minority.
Correct.
Okay, that's your definition.
They got the power to enforce. They got the power to enforce their race. Okay, they have that power. We don't have that power.
So, Ace, let me just be clear: an Asian person cannot be racist to a black person.
No, they can be bigoted or prejudiced, but they can't be racist because there's nothing. There's nothing. Let's say a nation or a Hispanic. There's nothing they can really do to hurt me. Systematically. There's nothing they can really do. All right, nothing. They may think they can. They may think they can get away with it, but there's nothing as an individual they can literally do to hurt me. Because I can always come back and still get them taken out. I've done it before.
All right. Well, we're gonna pull these definitions up because I think it's I think it's great for us to have the conversation and clarify it, because a person's perception and opinion is not fact, right? And so the definitions have real meaning, and they're not based on how we feel or how we were taught to make or believe how they're supposed to be used. And so we are going to clarify that, but let me get your thoughts on the Nolan Wells case, and we're going to double back behind those definitions. Like, what are your thoughts on this case as far as it being investigated and being handled? Do you feel like there could be foul play, or do you feel like it could be an accident? What are your thoughts on that?
The only way, now as far as him being killed due to racism or being racist, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. All right, because they were friends. As far as I know, they were friends. There's nothing that has been proven yet to prove that his friends were racist in any way. All we know, he had 3 white friends who left him out and who was with him on a boat, left and came back without him. Okay, now as far as them being racist or I'm doing it for racist reason, I don't know. There's absolutely nothing that points in that direction. Now, when it goes to law enforcement, there's the problem. Okay. Their actions are proven according to their state government and what actually happened in Mississippi. Their actions are proving that there may be racism involved. That's the system working against against Nolan Wells' family, because there's too much left out. See, I'm looking at them. They're like kind of like saying, okay, no, nothing to see here. Move on, people. Move on. Okay, nothing to see here, and it just pushing it by. But there's too much. There's too many unanswered questions to just do that. And thank God that somebody got involved in it. You see, thank God, because there's more to it than what the law enforcement states that there is. And then with his mother or his stepmother being a judge, that makes it even more interesting. And then you have to ask the question: why is she doing it this way? Why isn't she following legal protocol? Why she knows what needs to be done? Why isn't she doing it?
Yeah.
You see, now then you can lean toward that. Well, that's his mom. She's gonna try to do anything to protect him if he did something wrong,
right?
Or it could be that it's just some black kids. Let's push on. Let's go on, moving on. You see.
So let me ask you this then. I think you brought up a good point. I asked this question on the last slide. If Nolan Wells was your son and his friends were white, is it okay for your son to interact and to spend time with white kids? Is that an issue for you personally?
I wouldn't stop them. Okay, it's
All
like
right.
my father, my parents taught me. Okay.
Okay.
My mother and father taught me. They knew it existed because they came from the down low, Cheraw, South Carolina, farmers. The first generation free. Because my grandfather was only born like about 10 years after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm 64, man. So, he was like, he was when after the Civil War, and my great grandfather was a slave. So we're not that far apart from it. So they know. But they never. One thing I can say about my parents, they never talked negative about white people. They basically said, "You're going to see for yourself." that's how I see it.
Okay.
I'll never say don't talk to white people this way and don't talk to white people that way. I just say, go ahead, you do what you want to do. All right.
Okay.
But you'll start to see for yourself, like most black people do in time. Even that guy Tatum, he's gonna find out sooner or later too. You see, just like the Puerto Rican, when they found out, they thought they were white until they had that hurricane over there. Then they found out everybody said they got their N-word wake up call. You see, you just let it go, and you will see racism or the systematic racism come to play. You see, you'll see how it comes to play. With me, I find me knowing white people the way I do, because I grew up around white people. Okay, during the 70s. All right.
Okay.
I know they could be some evil, mean, terrible people, no matter how nice you are. You see, that's me. And then
is that so? Let me ask you: is that unique to their skin color, or is that, you get what I'm saying? Are you saying that that's a skin color thing, or is that a culture thing? So you saying
it's their skin color and their culture that they're trying to protect. Okay, that's what I see. All right. So yeah, I think it has a lot to do with skin color. That's why when people come here who aren't African American or who look like us or close to us, they tend to they realize it later on in life, unless you can say bow down and kiss the ring. You see, but if they try to be too free, they'll find out instantly that it's systematic. You see?
So let me ask you this: do you have any white friends?
No.
All right, you don't have any white friends?
No. I say I grew up, like I said, I grew up in the 70s. I grew up in the Brady Bunch 70s.
Okay.
when we moved around, we moved to Hackensack, New Jersey from Newark. Okay.
Okay.
And our neighborhood was like old school neighborhoods, where grandmother sat on the porch. If your mother say don't go off the block, you don't go off the block, and if you do, you had the grandmother the grandmother would tell on you, or if you were doing something wrong, they'd come out with their belt too and whoop your butt, and then go tell your mother why they whoop your butt. You see, that's the way it was when I grew up. Then when we lived in Newark, but when we moved to Hackensack around on White Boys, I thought it was going to be like the television show, where you say, "Wow, I got some white friends. Man, this is going to be cool, man. Yeah."
It wasn't like that.
No, man, it was far. We got spit in our faces. We got people throwing rocks. They used to break our guitar. I mean, our garage windows. Man, they used to throw the dog crap over our fence and stuff like that. They did everything they could to mess with us. You see, everything they could to force us to move out. So that's my experience.
No, I get people. Well, let me ask you this.
Talk about the N-word, man. It was non-stop sometimes, especially when you get in school. Let me ask me, and that was in Jersey.
No, let me ask you this, and I want to bring up the next caller. And I'm going to ask everybody this, so just be mindful. If your son was involved in an incident like this with Nolan Wells, and he's going to be considered an alleged suspect. Say your son came to you and said, "Dad, I killed this person, and this is what happened." Would you tell your son to turn himself in? Would you turn your son in to the police, or would you try to protect your son?
I tell him to keep his mouth shut.
All right. Would you turn him in? If your son told you if your son came to you and said, I took another person's life, me and my friends were all there, I did it, it's all on the news, are you turning your son in or are you protecting him?
I'd have to think about that. I'll be honest.
It's yes or no.
It's probably not in the beginning. I'd have to find out what the facts were. If the facts show that he was doing something stupid.
If he's in the wrong, your son is in the wrong, and he killed somebody.
If he's 100% in the wrong, he killed somebody, then I probably would.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you want in this case?
But I would need to know, why did you do it?
You need to know why he did it.
Yeah. Why did you kill that person, that white person? Why did you do it? You know, if like they were like when by the time I got 19 years old, I didn't have the problem. We had moved. They finally forced us out of the house, and we moved to Passaic. Okay, but at that age, you know, I would have to ask, especially after going through what I did in grade school. You know, I know people can push your buttons. I know that.
But it's a crime though to kill someone, and it's not in self-defense. So your son is wrong, right? So he's wrong.
I understand that. I understand that.
So those are all the facts.
That's legal. Okay.
Okay, you're right.
My belief is this, right? There's two laws that rule this earth.
Okay, it's true.
The law that put down by man and the law of nature.
Okay, you're right.
Sometimes nature has to take its course.
Okay.
You see? So but if nature takes its course wrongfully, then I'd have to turn them over to the law enforcement.
Okay, so in this case with Nolan Wells, you believe that if the friends did it, that the parents, like the judge, she should turn her child in and not protect them.
If she wasn't a part of it, because I still believe she may have had something to do with it.
Comment, man. You see how quick you answered that quick as hell.
Yeah, because I know how white people are.
What it's got to? It's not about white people. Common man, it's about right and wrong. It's about right and wrong. But listen, bro. Let me bring up the next person. I'll spin back around and come pick you up. All right, I'm gonna bring the next person up, brother. All right, I appreciate you. All right. Common man, I love that brother. He is so funny. He said, "You gotta love it. You gotta love it." He's right. You guys were governed by man's law and God's law, right? And sometimes our own law. Right, we do things our own way. All right, so real talk with Tammy. I'm gonna bring you up. You ready? I'm gonna get your thoughts. Come on up. How you doing?
Hi, great. I just want to say you may have not had a whole lot of cases, but you know I've looked for you continually because I first found you when the Nolan, when Carmelo Anthony case happened.
Okay.
And that was like, and that was really shocking for me because 67 years, I never really realized racism was as powerful as it is. And not that I was ignorant of it, but I just never experienced it. And so what was shocking for me is actually seeing, and it's something that Brandon would say what he said about this case, because they were all saying Carmelo Anthony was guilty.
Yes.
He and a whole lot of melanated people. And that was so shocking for me to where I started going after them, saying, you know, he knew better. You're an officer. None of us have seen any of them for any of the evidence or anything. So anyway, but and as you're talking, you know, again, I am seeing things from a new lens now. I would say more so Carmelo Anthony's case seems to be a lot of racism in it as opposed to this. I think, you know, it was just an unfortunate accident or whatever happened, and perhaps there is a cover up, you know, to save the boys, but not that it's related to race. I wouldn't say that those boys had any racism toward him. They may have had some issues as
Right.
it appeared that they were arguing or whatever like that.
Right.
But yeah, I wouldn't dare put racism in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's too soon, right? I think people get too comfortable throwing that out there. To be racist, it's a very specific thing, right? It's because we're talking about the posture of a person's heart and their mind, right?
Yes.
It supersedes skin color. We see skin color and we automatically put two and two together, and it very much will not be the case. You know, it's the same thing I see when I see cases involving interracial couples. You have a white male and a black female. Black women don't have issue with that combination, right?
Yes.
But if you know it's a black male and a white woman, and the white woman kills the black guy, then black women are like, well, you shouldn't have been messing with these snow, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we become very selective, you know, as black people, how we put these labels of what's racist and what's not racist. We do it based on how we feel. We do it based on what makes sense to us. It's very selective. It's not universal. We're not all on the same page as it relates to what's considered racist and what's not, you know. And so that's my issue, is that for whatever reason, we've created a definition that has become so fluid now.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, Asian, you know, shout out to Common Man's my man. He's been with me. He's been supporting me for the beginning. But Common Man said something that people are going to find controversial. He said, Asian people can't be racist. And it's like, shit.
Those are the ones, if anyone, because I won't go in their stores because they'll follow you in their stores, you know. And I'm like, what is this about? Oh no, you don't need my dollars.
Well, you know, and here's the problem is everybody can be racist. The problem is we don't utilize the definitions properly, right? The problem is you have people who stereotype you based on pattern recognition, things that they've learned in the media, things that they learned from their friends, from their personal experience. If you get pulled over by a white police officer and he's completely shaved, bald head, and he has a Southern accent, you're going to be like, I don't know, right? You're going to feel, but you are stereotyping that image because that image has been used to represent a lot of bad and corrupt white police officers. You know, I had a coworker of mine, he's a police officer. He suffered from, he just was bald, you know, like me, you know, and he would he would have the hardest time dealing with black people, and he was never right. But it's just because the way you look. The way you look, and he's judged by the way he looks. But he never mistreated anyone. He treated everybody with respect. I've been on calls with him. People love him when they get to know him. But again, we have gotten so comfortable judging people by the color of their skin, and not the content of their character, right? So go ahead, tell me. And I know you had the mic issue last time, and it was running out of time. You sound really good now. I hear you sound nice, crystal clear. What are your thoughts on the case as far as it being investigated? Do you feel like, first of all, because you answered the first question already, do you feel like this case is being investigated with a lot of transparency?
Not at all. Now there's the light is being, you know, turned on because of, and I have to repent because Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, never ever have I ever thought those people had anything good. But I am truly grateful that they have come on to this case, because it probably wouldn't have got the attention that it's getting now. But they have been not transparent. I mean, as you said earlier, the sheriff himself, now he's had to eat those words, you know, and say, well, he really didn't know this or didn't know that. But how could you come out and make the statement that there seems to be no foul play or anything like that? So, yeah, there's not enough transparency, but I pray that the second autopsy is held back until the state actually brings forth what they have, because I've gone down that little rabbit hole looking at the
Could have
So
been. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so hopefully, that will show, and the thing of, if it was Nolan so badly beaten to where they could not show him, or sometimes, like, I don't even like looking at people in caskets, because they never look the same for the most part.
That's true.
So
Yes.
yeah, so whatever their reasoning is, I think they're keeping a tight shield, and that has to be a hard
Very.
thing for them to hold back. But they do want, I remember the father saying when he went to the house to get Nolan's keys, he had two other guys with him, I guess the friends, and he had to
Yes.
hold them back because he
Yes.
needed to get the information. So, perhaps they have that discipline that they have to hold back because they want to get to the truth of what happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's been interesting. Let me ask you this, because I think this is your do you have kids?
I do. I have kids. I have grandkids. And that's what I think about. Like, and this is what my aunt told me. She said, "Shame on you," because I never raised my kids about race. I just didn't.
Mm,
I mean, we have a mixture of people in our family, and I
mm,
truly never. I would truly say that my mother, even though my mother was pro melanated people, she never taught us, anything about races or anything like that, because we grew up around a lot of people. I grew up here in California, and I just never. I'm not gonna say I didn't see race. I could see the difference, but I
yeah.
never took to heart. I took every person for their own character.
Absolutely.
So anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's how I was raised, that there's evil people, there's ignorant people,
Yeah.
and they come in all shades of color, and
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this last question. I'm
Hmm.
asking everybody this, and then I'm gonna pull up the next guest.
Okay.
And I see her in the back. I asked her this last time. She almost wrung my neck about it. If your child came to you and said, "Mom, I killed a person. I'm wrong. This is what happened. I took their life. I don't want to go to jail." Are you turning your child in, or are you going to protect them?
So if they're a child, yes, I'm turning them in. If they're a young adult, I'm going to convince them, get the support that they need, to
Now,
ensure
this is
that
your
there's no
child I'm
problem.
talking about. This is your
This is my
child.
child. This is my
Your
child. My
child.
children will
Okay.
tell you I don't play with them doing wrong and me covering up. I wouldn't have no
Mm,
child. Like, I know some have their young men deal drugs and do things like
yeah.
that, and they don't say no, that ain't happening with us at all,
Yeah. Yeah. You
because
call.
I have walked that line, and I've
Mm,
had a blessed life for doing so. And so yeah. So yeah. No,
okay.
so
I
no.
like that. I
Okay.
like that. I like that. Okay. I
Yes.
like that. Yeah, I like that. I think when I did the poll last time, it was like 80-20. I think 80% was like, we're turning the kid in. 20% were like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm not turning them in. My caller from last time, she back here. She said, I ain't giving up my child. She said, y'all got to come for mine.
Yeah, but she would want them to turn in theirs if something happened
That's
to
right.
her son. Yeah, well.
So I appreciate you. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts overall? How do you feel kind of how, like, we all know the history of this country. We all know how bad it was, and how
Yes.
people are still carrying out a lot of wicked behaviors towards minorities.
Yeah.
Um what are your thoughts just overall, like, of this case, that you think are the challenges? Looking at the fact this happened in Mississippi doesn't help, you
Correct.
know,
Correct.
at all, right? It's just they're gonna forever have they're
Forever.
gonna
Yeah.
forever have a negative stain.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of this country is forever gonna have a negative stain.
It
Um,
is. It really is.
um,
So
mhm.
with that case, because I'm seeing things from a new light, and a lot of it, mainly, not that it is it's isolated to Mississippi or even like Texas. My youngest daughter moved back to Texas. My son is in Texas, and we just came upon where our family had 11,000 acres, and my great great great
Nice.
grandmother, Fort Bend County really should be ours. They took it from her because they were not going to allow a Black woman to have that. They gave her what was initially in the will, which was
Okay.
300 acres. But she
Mm-hmm.
fought Texas Supreme Court. She fought for 8 years to get that
Damn.
300 acres. So now my daughter, she's like, Mom, you see, I'm trying to tell you, and I'm like, well, that was a long time ago, but there's still things that leaves a stain. So the same thing with Mississippi, they have a major stain on them. They
Yep.
were like one of the leading
The leading.
states. Yes.
Leading them in South Carolina.
Yes,
What's funny
yes,
to your point though, I'm gonna make this, I think it's very important. How many other Black families are victims of that exact same thing, right? That land grab.
yes,
We all know what was promised, the 40 acres, and then it was reneged and it was
yes,
taken back.
yes,
And so my thing is, in situations like that, that's where I would love to see Ben Crump excel, right? Those like Ben Crump and the activists. That's where I would love to see them put their energy. You get what I'm
yes,
saying? I don't have an
yes,
issue with them chasing these incidents where it's a white officer and a Black. I'm cool with that. I don't have an issue with that. But in areas where it matters, right? I've seen them defend cases where the suspect is Black and he's wrong, all the way wrong. He's dead wrong. And
yeah,
he's really dead, right? He's dead wrong. And they still try to make it about race. And I'm looking at it and analyzing it as an investigator, because this is what I do, right? As a side business, this is what I do. I'm contracted to do it. I look at the case and I examine. I say, no, the suspect, yeah, he's Black, the officer's white, but the suspect is wrong. You cannot do what he did. You cannot draw a weapon on the officer. You can't point the gun at the officer and then he gets shot and then you say it's racist. It doesn't work like that. They are following him because he is involved in a crime, so forth and so on, so forth and so on. But I would love for him and others like him and other activists to put forth that energy and effort to doing things like that, like you're referring to, where that's a civil matter where you can get into the weeds of it and say, hey, listen, they were owed this many and they were railroaded because they didn't have proper representation and the state owes them this. Give them back their land. What a beautiful thing that would be. You get what I'm saying? And meanwhile, we're over here boycotting Target and shit. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my issue. But I appreciate you. So do you have a channel, Real Talk with Tammy Cooper?
No, I don't. I'm still trying to get ready. I'm retiring like in January, and so that's when because it's a lot of work, and I can see why it's a lot of work to doing that. Yeah, the researching and everything, and
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, if you ever need any advice, or need any help, shoot me an email and I'll help you through the process. But yeah, I think it's great to just have different voices and it's fun. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming up. I'm going to bring the next caller up.
All righty. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. So we'll always know the racism that exists in America. I always find these questions so interesting. Someone said, Nathan, you and your family aren't the original descendants of slavery in America. So I don't know you will ever. I don't know if you'll ever know the racism that exists in America. No, I know it. I know it very well. I don't know. I think people are so interesting how they look at these things. Right. I understand what you're trying to say, but you're wrong. Some of y'all talk like y'all are y'all ancestors. Some of y'all talk like y'all got some of your ancestors in you and you don't. Okay. Some of y'all ancestors will be rolling around in their grave mad at y'all the way y'all conduct yourselves in today's time. Some of y'all are you here on this earth just as long as I was here on this earth. You have not shared the experience of the people that you're living vicariously through. Okay. So you got to be mindful when you make statements like that. All right. I hear what you're trying to say, but you're off. You're off. All right. There's a lot of people who come before you who dealt with a lot worse than what we're dealing with today. And the sacrifices that they made were so that you can have a better life today. And they would be living the life that you're living, looking at you crazy. All right. And wouldn't be tolerating some of the things that some of y'all tolerate. All right. So again, you got to be careful when you make statements like that, because you kind of make yourself look silly a little bit. All right. A lot of y'all are not your ancestors. They were hustling, and they were dealing with a lot of oppression, and they were making it look good in the process. All right. So we got a long way to go. We got a long, almost, I want to say we end up backtracking a lot in this day and age, and we need to step it up, because they were doing a lot more. They keeping their money together a lot better, their families together. They were more responsible. They looked after each other. They were doing things. We were excelling under the height of oppression. Black Americans were excelling to the 10th degree, making the oppressors look bad. Okay, making the oppressors look bad. So no, you're not your ancestor. Some of y'all are not your ancestors. Some of y'all are a disappointment. All right, so please don't get me on that train, because I'll embarrass you. Okay, I will straight up embarrass you. All right, so there's so much more we could be doing. You know, if you guys really want to take it to the man, as y'all like to put it, get your money up and put your money together. Right? Put your money together. When all this stuff was popping off and y'all were going through this Asian hate thing not too long ago, because old dude shot the guy at, who was the young boy who was at the gas station who didn't steal no water. Okay. Y'all said y'all were done with Asian businesses, and I went to get my toes done the other day, and I saw none but sisters in there. Okay. So miss me with it. Okay, because I don't have to buy Jordan tennis shoes. I don't have to get my nails. I ain't got to get my hair done. I don't got to do none of that. But some of y'all, okay, some of y'all couldn't boycott bacon, let alone chicken, let alone a beauty supply store, a nail shop. You're not going to do it. So don't come over here with the rah-rah. All right, some of y'all don't even bank black, buy black, have black. Y'all don't even eat brown rice. Okay. Some of y'all don't even like brown eggs. So please, all that pro-black BS y'all come with, you're not your ancestors. All right. So don't talk to me about racism. A lot of these things are excuses a lot of people use to not put themselves in the position they need to. We work together, we pull our money together. You'd be surprised what we can do in this country. The formula already exists. We are the ones that are not getting on the formula. All right. Let me bring up. Listen, why your name on here, BJ? You know you need to change that. I'm bringing you up.
Do it.
Listen, take it easy on me now.
I'm not going to take it easy on you, because you didn't take it. I heard you throwing all them slams at me earlier, but it's okay, because this is a conversation, so I don't mind. I heard them. I didn't want you to think I missed nothing.
Right, don't hurt me
I don't pay attention, because I do.
I know
you know I'm on it. That's what I do. But I wanted to talk to you about racism first, and I wish you would look it up, because there is a power component that doesn't apply to bigoted or prejudice. So Japanese people, Asian people are bigoted, they're prejudiced, but they don't have the power component. They can't stop anything from me. They can't stop me from living somewhere. They can't do what possibly is going on with some cases. So I really wish let's have another conversation. Look it up, look at the definition, and let's have a conversation, because there is a power component. My brother and I aren't speaking right now because we just had this conversation about racism, and he feels the same way that you do. So there is, Black people are prejudiced. Black people are bigoted about a whole bunch of stuff, and stereotype, bigot, and racist are three entirely different things. They have some similarities, but they're all different. So for you to be racist, you have to have the power to be, like you see the differences in how people are judged in court and how sentencing is done. That's based on racism, and that has a lot to do with race, and that's a power component that people just don't have. So I personally don't think, from the definition and how I read it, You know, from my education, I don't think that everybody has the power component. This country was built on this racism, so that power component started with the people who started it. You know, and it moved on. But I can certainly be prejudiced. I can certainly call somebody a name out the window. Not saying that I do or don't, but I could certainly do it. But there is a power component. Please look it up now. I mean, I got time for you. You know, I'm here for you.
You here for me?
Yeah.
All right.
And the other thing the other thing before I forget, because this was the
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
reason
No, do you think?
I hit the button because I know you're like, oh, she back. The stuff about not treating people, not teaching their kids about racism. As a parent, I know that the first time I had to teach my children about racism was the first time they were called a nigger. Sorry if you can't say that on your podcast, the N-word. But I think that white children, whether intentional, whether environmental, or whether societal, they go to school armed and dangerous because they've already heard it. They've seen it. Not saying that they're all taught it. Black kids ask about it when they hear about it. So Black parents generally as a whole, you know, as the majority, don't teach their children about race. We teach our children when they need to know. I knew the first day, I have twins, when one of them came home and I could see her face, when she got in the car, I told my husband, I said, today is the day. You know, I could see her looking defeated in her face. I knew that was the day that we were going to have to finally have the talk with 6-year-olds. This one day. So I like I said, I think they go to school armed and dangerous. And I'm not saying all white people. I don't generalize with all of anything, but whether it's societal, through intention, or just them witnessing things. White children know things that Black children do not, and we don't have to teach them. So we're not ones that really teach our children as a whole about being racist. It's no benefit to us. You know, we teach them stuff to protect them, not that they can do bad things to other people. So there is a difference. And I think that kids, like I said, I knew I had my best friend when I was about in kindergarten. She was a little white redheaded girl, and I was in love with her hair. You know, and we were supposed to go. I was supposed to go to her house on the weekend, but the Friday before, our school pictures went home. Now, my mom's a psychologist, so her mom didn't know, and she didn't know. So this is one of the occasions where she didn't know to say, "Oh, Barbara come over? She's Black." You know, but the next morning, her mom called my mom and she said, "Hey, we're going to be busy today. So, you know, Barbara can't come over, so-and-so." And I never did. All these years later, I never did go to her house. And I was so crestfallen. And I told my mom, "Well, can you call today?" And she finally said, "You're probably not going to go, but it's okay. You can go over to Sandy's house, or you can go here, or you can do this." I grew up on Long Island. It's nothing but white folks and us, you know, and a few Indians. You know, so it's not like that wasn't something that I was used to. I live in an area where I'm 4% of the Black people now. You know, do I feel like everybody's here? Do I have people that I'm friendly with? I absolutely do. And I'm also in a huge civil rights organization, which shall remain nameless. But I see things all the time that I know. And then the microaggressions, people who are my friends or friendly to me say stuff, they don't even realize that it's a microaggression. I work for a large firm. And we had a security guard at one time, and one of the ladies said, "Hey, Barbara, is the security guard gone?" I said, I think he's been gone for a couple of months." She said, "Well, if somebody comes, we're going to run in here with you." And I said, "You know, but I'm not going to be in here."
Huh? What do you think? What do you think that meant by? What do you think
Black people can fight. Not saying I can or can't. But they thought that I'm going to be this big Black. I'm the only Black person in the firm I'm in. They thought that I'm going to protect them. They were absolutely wrong.
But that's a stereotype. Where do you think that comes from, though?
It's a stereotype just from media, what they've known, what they've seen, the part they see on TV, the things that they see, the things they see in media. Let
me ask you this: Do you also practice and stereotyping other groups?
I don't. I mean, there may be something. I don't. I try not to. I look at people as people.
Hold on, wait. This is something that you do. I got.
Okay, call me out.
Do you practice stereotyping other groups?
Do I practice it? Practice means I'm doing it ongoing to try to make myself better at it.
Have you do it? Do you do it? Have I
done it? Yes. I think maybe stereotypes, some things. Like if I seen the bald-headed man with your partner that you were talking about, I would think that he was a skinhead. But since you was Officer Tatum super fan, I might think you are too.
No, you gotta see that. I like Tatum.
Super fan. Oh yes, you are.
Listen, I like Tatum. I like him.
The way your
like
face
Tatum.
when you were talking about Teslin and when you were talking about Tatum showed who you like the best. You're an
No,
Officer
no, no, no,
Tatum
no.
super fan. Just say it. I'm gonna still listen.
No, you're fine. I don't like her because she's rude and she's very, very.
Did you hear him cutting her off? Did you hear him cutting her off tonight?
Listen to me.
He's rude as well. He's
Listen
hella
to me.
rude.
Listen to me.
Mhm.
I've heard her in a lot of interviews. I listen to some of her interviews and things that she's in.
Right.
She's extremely rude, loud, and argumentative. I
And
don't
very
like
smart. And very smart. So don't leave smart out of
I
it.
never said she wasn't. I never
Okay.
said she
Well, I
wasn't.
want you to put it
I
all
just-
in there. I want you to put all the qualifiers in there. I want you to put all the stuff in there for her.
Well,
'Cause
it
she's
wasn't
very
about
smart, too.
intelligence. I'm just speaking from the point of when it comes to having discourse, that
Right.
when you start attacking each other versus attacking the facts, she gets loud. She gets very disrespectful in conversations. She
So
starts
Officer Tatum
attacking people
doesn't?
personally. I'm
Officer
just telling you,
Tatum
I don't like
doesn't?
that.
Officer
What I'm
Tatum
saying-
doesn't? I'm just asking.
No, what I'm saying is that's something. I'm just saying I don't like that about her positioning. There's things about Tatum I don't like either. I don't like his perspective on police encounters. I think that he's extremely one-sided, and I think he's very disingenuous
And
But-
disrespectful. Put that in there. Throw that in too. Disrespectful, because he is hella disrespectful.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Well, call him
What-
out
what
like
I'm
you're calling out
even-
Teslin. Call him
Well,
out.
I
Call him out
call-
the same.
well,
Super
well,
fan.
well-
Super fan.
I'm definitely not a super fan. But what I'm saying is, when I see her debating people and having discussions, the discussion gets railroaded. It gets derailed because she gets very loud and argumentative. And
With
she
that.
could be having a conversation with someone and everybody's peaceful, and she will take it up 10 octaves.
So
All
did
right?
you see
That's
the-
just
did you
what
see the-
I've seen.
Did you see the interview when the man told her, if you don't like it here, why don't you leave America? That's probably one of the ones that you saw where you said she got loud and she said, I fought for this country.
No, I didn't see that.
Well,
'Cause
I'm
I
not-
think he was in the
but you
military.
would have thought that she was loud and disrespectful,
Oh,
but
what-
she told him, I belong to be here. I get tired of people telling black people where to go because I'm 10 generations in, I'm going to be here. You know, I'm going to be right here. And you, why does everybody want to give me a pass to go somewhere else? This is home for us. You know, this is home for us.
No, my issue with people and discussing topics that are sensitive when they can't when they can't be mature about the conversation.
Mature
I don't like
discourse.
it, period.
I understand. I
And
understand.
so to me, when I see her having conversations that are hot topics, she is the one, and the last couple of
It gets
ones I've
hot.
seen on the Breakfast Club, just being
Right.
honest, she gets very rowdy with her conversations. I just don't think it's healthy. I don't think
productive. And it's unfortunate
saying? It's
because
not
then you
productive.
can't. Right, and then it's unhealthy, and it doesn't help because then you can't plow through and see the facts. So that's
There you
part
go.
of the issue. Because I can listen to both because I understand her passion. I can hear some facts that you may miss because you tune her out because she's loud, like we're considered to be loud. So you may tune her out because of that. So, but I listen for the facts, and I can listen to hot conversations. I listen to Tatum, and I see he is disingenuous. He's hella disrespectful. And I hope tomorrow he realizes that he's black too, and that some of those things that can happen when he's not on the air or not with his friends can happen to him. You know, and I don't think that he realizes that. And that's why I'm saying you're a super fan. But if you're not, it's okay.
Listen, I'll accept the title if that's
Okay,
what you want to
okay,
consider
do
me.
it,
I'll
do it,
accept that.
do it.
I'm a fan of truth.
Okay.
And you can see my interview with him. You go on the channel, check out my interview. I
I
call him
saw
out
it.
on. You saw it? Okay,
I
yeah.
saw it.
I call it for what it is. I
Just
just
tell me why I
honestly.
think you're a super fan.
Okay, well, I'll let you call me
I
that. I'll let
appreciate
call
you,
me
and I love the fact that you allow me to come up. You know, I'm very passionate. I'm never going to be disrespectful to you, and I don't expect or think that you'd ever be disrespectful to me. But we should be able to have a mature conversation.
Yes.
The question you asked earlier about, do I think that the question you asked, and I'm not going to let you get back to it because I talk too much. Do I think that he was killed because of race? That wasn't my thought. I think that the way it's investigated, like I told you the other night, is based on race. I don't think that because it could have been an accident. They could have pushed him, but because they know that the mom's a judge and they can get away with doing some stuff, they don't have to be forthright because he's black. But do I think it happened? I think that they were friends. But like I told you with my job, black people experience microaggressions every day. People like you probably don't really know them, but I have a keen ear for it because I know when people are doing it. Some of it is just from doing it from habit. They don't even mean anything by it, but it's no less the microaggression when people do it, and they do it all the time. So I don't think when something like, we're gonna kill you, black man, of a microaggression.
Yeah, that you've experienced
Oh,
personally.
you went to what school? Oh, your daughter's going where? Oh, did she get financial aid? No, B, she got 100% scholarship. You know, those are questions that white people don't ask each other. They ask black people because they're so surprised. Your mom was a psychologist? What school did she go to? And I said, she went to your school.
But I agree with that. I agree that there are microaggressions.
Those are microaggressions.
But
yes.
here's let me ask you this, and I'm gonna get your honesty behind this. This is what I like about
let's go.
That you're honest.
Let's go.
Is it possible that we can also assume that they're microaggressions, and in fact it's just them asking a question, and we're so hypersensitive that we assume that it's coming from a person with white skin, that there has to be some racist or microaggression behind it? Because if anybody else were to ask you that, you would probably call them an asshole, or you'd be like, okay, that's rude. But if it's a white person, it has to be racist related.
Okay, let me tell you one more example before we go any further and see if you think this is a microaggression, then I'll answer your question. I have 3 daughters, very, very beautiful daughters, and I had a picture of them in my office.
Okay.
Client walked by, poked his head in and said, "Oh, they're beautiful. Are they a rap group?"
Okay.
I said, "No, my oldest daughter is a psychologist. My youngest daughter is an analyst. The second daughter is doing social work." But your first thought, you couldn't stop it. They're beautiful. That's a microaggression, because I don't think he'd will about it. But, oh, your girls are beautiful. You know, so I think that it's something that happens automatic. I think that it happens and it's ingrained. A lot of times it's done with no intent. I admit, it's not malicious intent, but it's no less the microaggression if they're doing it. If you're asking me, if you tell me that my mother graduated with her master's from one of the best schools in the country, just because you went there, oh, your mom went there? Don't act damn surprised. Hell yeah, she went.
But that's what I'm saying. So to answer that, here's my thing. I think yes, I think there are. I know microaggressions exist. I'm not discounting that. I also know that people are stupid. I know that people are ignorant, right? I see it. Again, my concern is I see it across the board. I see everybody doing it. So my question to you though is it possible that we can misinterpret these things and we can assume that they're microaggressions when in fact it's someone just being curious? It's someone and you got to think too.
I accept it.
Yeah, and they communicate different amongst each other. That's a very unique thing with different groups. Culturally, we are not the same, right? We don't think the same. We don't behave the same.
We don't.
In our groups as together, we don't have the same type of we're not. Some of us are not as nosy. We don't do the fake smiling thing at work.
At
right?
all.
That was one thing. That was one thing when I was working. I don't do the smile just because the smile. I don't do that, right?
Because I don't have to.
Something that some
I'm there on my
groups do that.
merit. I'm there on my merit. I've had people ask me, "Do I have a mom voice? Do you have a mom voice, Barbara? Do you have a mom voice? Do you don't think that's a microaggression?" And I say, "Yeah, but my kids aren't here, so why would you hear it? Why would you hear it? I'm professional."
But I think the problem with that is they say that to each other.
I'm not each other. I don't say that to my friends. I don't say that to my friends. I've never said that in my life. Do you have a mom voice in a meeting, in a professional setting, in a meeting? Barbara, do you have a mom voice? And I said, yeah, I do, but I don't know why you want to expect you're going to hear it. My kids aren't here. I mean, why would you think that you could hear it?
So, but again, that goes back to my first point: is that sometimes.
Okay, it's accidental.
Here's why I say that. I see the interaction that they have amongst each other. It's the same exact way, right? They would say the same. They would say the same thing to another white person, but if they say to a black person, we take offense to it. So that, to me, I look at it as, does that make it a microaggression?
It does.
If it's exclusively towards us, or if this is how they communicate in general. Those are two separate things.
But that's what Officer Tatum would say. But it is. That's what Officer Tatum would say. It's not a microaggression, Barbara. You should have a mom voice, damn it. You know, something crazy.
I think, let me ask you this then. Do you think black people, we can be overly sensitive?
I think we're overly sensitive. We're conditioned to it because we put up with it since first grade. through college and beyond. We put up with it. So I think that if you have a bad tire and it keeps rolling, well, after a while it gets worn out. If you experience it all the time, it's hard to differentiate what is what because you experience it all the time. I've gone to mostly white schools up until I was in high school, so you see things and stuff like that. My best friend, I thought she was my best friend at 8, walking down the street, best friends, next door neighbor, best friend. Her little brother picked up a cigarette. She said, "Put that down," and nigger could have had it in his mouth. And I'm thinking, I had to beat her up. I'm 8, but those are things that she didn't mean any harm by it. But did I take offense to it? I absolutely at 8. Because I had already had the thing with Mindy Chaffee not being going over to her house because the school picture went home. So, I'm still mad 2 years later about Mindy. So, and she said that, and I know that she didn't mean it because we were truly, really, really good friends, I thought. But she was conditioned to know, and she knew that was a bad thing. She didn't say it's dirty. It could have bugs on it. A car could have rolled over it. She was specific in what she said, and I don't think she meant any ill intent, but that didn't mean it didn't hurt my feelings. So microaggression, whether it's meant or not, still does hurt my feelings and challenge my blackness and my capabilities.
Only because you interpret it that way. And I think there are some cases where there's some cases, and I'm not saying
it's possible.
There's some cases where we as Black people can misinterpret things
I agree with that.
and
I agree.
mislabel things, right? And if you mislabel things, you take offense to everything a person says simply because they're white and it's coming from a white person. I use this example all the time in policing. If I have a coworker who pulls you over and he's white and he says, "Get your ass out the car," he's white, you take offense to that. Not because he cursed at you, because it was a white man that cursed at you.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
But it's not that you don't agree. I'm telling you how people feel.
Okay.
The issue, what I'm saying is, this is how people feel. This is what Black men tell me. When I go and I talk to them amongst Black men, in conferences, they say, "I don't like being talked to a certain way by white officers, white male officers."
Does any of that have to do with fear? Does it have to do with fear? Any of it? Did any of you say that puts them out on alert? Did anybody say that?
No, well, this is what they say, right? This is what they're saying. They're saying when a Black, and this is what I challenge them. I say, so if I, as a Black officer, say it to you, you're upset, but you're not offended. You're upset, and you say, "I'm an asshole." You're like, "Hey, that Officer Daley, he's an ass."
The other one was an ass too. So
hold on, but Officer Kevin, right? He's a racist for saying it.
Okay.
So to my point, that we mislabel things simply because of what we're looking at. We don't like when this person does it because of what they look like. We don't want to hear it from them. And so I think that it's easy for us to basically mislabel people.
That's what they think.
And you said it earlier, and you know what you said? You said it did. Though she said it, she had no ill intent. There was no malice behind it, but it hurt my feelings.
Right. And I wanted to let her know so she wouldn't hurt anybody else.
And yes, but did you let her know that it hurt your feelings because of what she said, or hurt your feelings because she was white and she said it?
Black people don't ask me questions like that.
That's irrelevant.
You can't tell me my life. Black people don't ask me. I'm not telling you. I'm just saying. Black people never ask me, "Do I have a mom voice?" I've never had that happen in my life.
But that doesn't mean.
Black people don't say, "Wow, your mom went to that school. You went to this school. Oh my gosh, how did your daughter get in that school?" My Black friends that mostly professional, don't ask me stuff like that. They might talk about it behind my back, but they don't ask me intrusive questions like that. And that might be just what white Americans do.
But that's a cultural thing. And black people ask them type of questions all the time. "Man, when you get that car, how you afford that?"
Well, that's material stuff. Black people, you already know.
Oh, go ahead. Let me hear the stereotype.
You already know we material.
No, I don't know. Tell me.
My sister lives in South Carolina. I'm about to tell you about material stuff. I'm about to tell you about material stuff. I'm about to tell you. My phone's about to cut off. I'm about to go.
Listen.
I'm sick of
you.
you.
Let me tell you something. You're not slick. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
What were you about to say about Black people? Black people what?
You know what? We were so happy to be able to get some things that it was a big thing. I'm a child of the whatever. So we were happy to get. It's true. It's true.
You know what you sound
we want to look like money because that's how we were accepted back in the day. We had to look a certain way. the hats, the dresses, and stuff like that. We had to do that.
You were just
We
about
had
to
to do
speak on
that.
a stereotype of black people. I want to hear what the stereotype
You
is.
said it about the cars, about asking about the cars. That's but I don't ask white people about where they got their cars. That's a black people thing.
But
That's
hold on,
different.
hold on. But it's interesting how different groups ask and they focus on specific things that are unique to a group, right?
Black is not unique. Nothing black is unique to me. I'm used to that. I'm not used to people asking me about where I went to school and acting surprised, or where my children go to school.
But why is that
acting
considered?
surprised.
Because it's different and different
Because they're
cultures might
shocked. Like,
ask different
how did your
questions.
kid get there?
Why are you offended by questions?
So would you be offended by a lady came in and she said, "Hey Barbara, I found a bus token. You think this is years back? You think one of your daughters can use it?" And I said, "No, my oldest daughter has a car. Now Mary's daughter, who's 15, just had a baby. She might need a bus token." Now, see, that was wrong of me. But don't ask me if I need the bus token.
Why would you?
Don't
Why do
ask
you
me because I'm the only
assume?
black person. I'm the only black person in the office. I'm the only black person in the office. Don't ask me if I need some free stuff.
Why do you assume? Why are you taking it so negative?
Because she should have asked Mary's daughter. She didn't have no car, nothing.
How do you know
She had a
asked
baby.
Mary? How you? But why do you assume? But my issue though is the trauma, and some of this trauma is self-inflicted.
You know you're black, right?
Oh, I'm super black.
Oh,
I'm 100%
okay. I'm
black.
I'm just kidding, Officer Tatum. I didn't know.
He's so silly. No, but a lot of this. Why I say that a lot of it's self-inflicted because
it's not self-inflicted. It's through having it happen. It's conditioning through things happening over and over. And if we took the time to try to figure, is this real or is this fake? I don't know how far we would progress. So we have to take everything like it's meant like that. And that's just how it is as black people. Black people getting through a day is, I'm telling you, I have a microaggression, I think, every day. And just getting from here to A, B is, I think, how a lot of black people, and I'm not saying most, all, anything, I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like I have to have an armor on ready for battle every time I walk out my front door.
Why?
In my nice neighborhood, and 4% of the black population up here is black. I have to. I can't afford to. I can't afford to have them make assessments about me.
I think some black people are so paranoid.
I'm not paranoid at all, but I'm ready.
Paranoia.
No, I'm not paranoid. I'm describing things that happen and how I respond to it. Not that I walk around like, "Hey, you gonna say something crazy to me today?" It's not that at all. It's that what paranoia is. I'm thinking that it's gonna happen. I'm responding when it happens.
But you've already believe it's gonna happen because you just said you got to put on armor. You only put on armor if you believe you're gonna be attacked.
Because
right?
I'm ready, because it does.
You're ready, but how are you ready for something? You said you only worry about it when it happens.
You're a police officer. When you go out to fight crime, are you ready, or are you just going out there and just like, I'm gonna think this?
Well, I'm not delusional. I know what I'm going to do.
I'm not delusional either.
You told me.
I'm not the least bit delusional.
You told me that you only deal with it when it comes to you, but you just described preparation. You said before
I'm prepared for everything.
Put on the
white,
armor.
black, Asian, Puerto Rican. I'm prepared for anything when I walk out my front door.
Okay, so
but most of the darts I get are from, just because I'm a woman, I'm 5'3", I'm just ready for whatever, as they say. If something happens, I want to be ready, but I don't go out looking for it, and I'm not anticipating it. But I want to be ready, like anybody should want to be ready when they go into the world.
Let me ask you this: are black people materialistic?
I'm going to plead the fifth. I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay, let me ask you this. Ready? Yes or no question. Are white people racist?
Black people racist? We're prejudiced and biased.
That are white people racist?
Yes, some are. I think that some are. We have a lot of anti-racism race people that I work with all the time that I know.
And you say black people can't be racist, correct?
They can't. There's a power component that we don't have.
Can black people be bigots?
Yes.
Okay, and you know the definition of bigot?
I do.
All right. So can black people be bigot based off of race?
Oh, yeah. But they don't have the power component to have that work for them, to do anything for them with it.
But that's only
racism is the power component.
That power, let me just tell you.
Japanese people can't keep me from living anywhere.
That's
a white
not
person
what
can, and a banker can keep me from, that it can happen. So no, there's a power component.
That's one part of the definition to speak to systemic racism. That is not the primary original definition of racist.
Okay, tell me what it is. But my phone's, I got to charge my phone, and I don't even, I have to go to my
Where your
office.
charger at?
Don't worry about me, worry about you.
I bet your charger ain't white, huh? Your charger's black, ain't it?
It's white. They're dependable. It's dependable. It's dependable.
You know you a fool, right?
Whatever. You call me what you like.
So black chargers aren't dependable?
Nope. You're trying to set me up. I know your game.
You set yourself up.
I would never set myself up.
Shit. All right, let me pull up this definition so we can put this to bed because we hitting 3 hours. All right. Go and charge your phone. I'm gonna drop you down for a second. Let me pull these definitions. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave you up so you can see these, that we can read this together.
Okay, let's do it.
Because I want all my people to be educated properly.
Mm-hmm. Tell your friends to cash at me. No. I appreciate you taking my calls and everything like that. It's always
for sure,
entertaining, and I always learn something, and I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Same here. All right. I'm gonna drop you down for a second. Let me pull this thing up real quick.
Okay.
While you charge that up. Let me see. Share this tab. Is this right? You guys, let's get into the definition, the proper definition. I know this is gonna be, and let me explain to y'all how this works. Let's put this to bed. I know how you feel. I know how you want to feel about the word racist and racism. I get it. I understand the emotional context behind it. I understand the historical context behind it. I know people are going to say what they want to say. Words have meaning. You just can't reinvent new words when you feel like it. You can't just change the definition of words when you feel like it. That's a liberal thing to do. All right. We want to create and recreate the things that we don't like and we don't want to use anymore. Let's talk about what the actual definition of a racist is. All right. You guys, please stop letting folks fill you up with misinformation. A lot of people do not like to admit that Black people can be racist. All right. Let me see if I can blow this up a little more. All right. This is an adjective, you guys. What does that mean? It means we're describing. All right. We're describing. What is a racist? Damn dog. Having or reflecting or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. All right. What does that mean? Some people say we know. No, a lot of y'all do not know what a racist is. Okay. If you need examples, I'll give you examples. This has nothing to do with power. This has nothing to do with the power dynamic. Has nothing to do with you can enforce this over me. I can enforce this. That's not what racist is, you guys. All right. That's never been what the word was, ever. All right. That word has evolved into systemic racism to explain the systemic oppression via racism against Black people or minorities in this country. All right. Via the systems. What we have here is people, individuals. It doesn't say white. It doesn't say white. All right. Having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority, meaning that because of my skin color, because of my biological skin color, there are certain things about me that's better than you. There's certain things about me that's more superior than you. Okay. i.e. white man can't jump. All right. The reason why 90 or 80% of the football players are Black. 80% of the basketball players are Black. Right. You guys, this is saying that genetically my group is more superior than you. If I believe that, right? Guess what that makes me? A racist, you guys. It's not complicated. It's really not complicated. I, for the life of me, don't understand why Black people are so allergic to the idea that they could be a racist. Just because you didn't invent the word doesn't mean you can't belong to the word or you don't participate in it. All right. Number two, we all know how definitions work. We're going to scroll down to definition B, of relating to, characterized by the systemic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. Here's something interesting about this. It also doesn't say it has to be white. Look at this dog. It doesn't have to be white, you guys. It doesn't have to be white. Someone said white like a tea. Look, relating to or characterized by the systemic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. This is what my last two callers, the first caller, Common Man, and Miss BJ was talking about. This definition right here, referring to systemic racism. Okay, you guys, this is a real definition. This doesn't mean that Black people aren't racist. It means that there's two definitions, all right, for the word, because they're used interchangeably. Racist, a person who is a racist, someone who holds the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities. Racial differences produce inherent superiority of a particular race. All right, you guys, come on. Bigot, a bigot is a person who's just intolerant to a person's race, gender, or religion, nationality. That's a bigot. When you're intolerant, you guys, that's it. So like she said earlier, I think Black people can be a bigot. I say, okay, you think Black people can be bigot towards race? She said, yeah. You know what that makes you? It makes you a racist. Makes you a racist. Black people can be racist, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know, you know, let's look at this one. Share this tab. This is Columbia. This is the Cambridge Dictionary. Columbia. What is Cambridge Dictionary? We get through all the dictionaries, you guys. All right. Someone who believes that their race makes them better, more intelligent, more moral than people of other races, and who does or says unfair or harmful things as a result. You guys, I don't make these definitions up, but clearly people want to make up their own definitions. Someone says, "Whose words are you reading?" You don't. Does anybody not agree or people disagree that Black people can also have a superiority complex? I see it all the time. Shout out to you, Marion B 2530. Thank you so much for this super chat. I really appreciate it. So thank you for your support. Oh, it's the caller who came up earlier. Oh, thank you, love. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. It means a lot. I just really appreciate the thoughts and your perspectives, everybody's perspective who comes up here, and just sharing their views. These are tough conversations. These conversations are very intense. They're very sensitive, and I just appreciate everyone just participating in just the honest discourse, right? And like I said before, a lot of people can't have these conversations, you guys. They cannot have these conversations. They lose it. They lose themselves, or they have an agenda that they're trying to push, and that overshadows a good conversation. Someone says, any questions before we close out? Common Man, I'm gonna bring you up real quick to give your thoughts on these definitions. But I would also like to get people's perspective on these words. These words have meaning, you guys. Black people can be racist. The definition fits. I know plenty of Black folks who say things like, if you date a white woman, you date a white man, this over that. You know what I mean? We're better than them. We're gods. Yeah, black people say we're gods. We're the chosen ones. We got it right here in the chat. Right? So dear people say, hey, white people they're cave dwellers. You know, they're beneath us. We ruled them at one point in time in ancient Egypt. Then, you know, you guys, and listen, it's your prerogative. You can think and believe whatever you want. I honestly don't care. It's none of my business how your brain operates. Bless your heart. Okay, whatever you want. I love all people. I love all people. I hate wicked, evil people. Okay, with a passion. But I love everybody, you guys. I just do. I don't see color. I see behavior. All right. I see character. That's how I was raised. That's what I look at. And the same thing black people complain about white folks, I see black folks doing the exact same thing to each other. All right. Which leads me to believe this is a behavior thing, not a skin color thing. Do we have pockets of white folks that act up and act crazy? Yeah. We sure do in this country. Absolutely. Absolutely. And guess what? We got black folks in pockets in this country that act up as well. They all do different things. At the end of the day, I'm not feeling wicked, evil people. It doesn't matter. And they come in all shades, you guys. All right. All shades. Common Man, let me get your thoughts on these definitions, man. We're going to close out. Someone said which percentage is higher? All right, Common Man, what's your thoughts on the definitions, man?
Okay, I'll tell you how I was taught. Google defined racist 1966. This is how I was taught.
All right,
and you'll see exactly what I mean.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think
the meaning of the meaning changed between the time I was taught and by the time you were taught in the 80s. Or you were from the 80s on. You were your 40 something.
80s,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So I was taught from the real meaning of racist. And I was always taught that a black person could never be racist in this country.
Okay.
You see? And there's a large difference between the two. It's kind of like words change in time.
The words definitions do change.
Definition
and they document
words in time. Yeah.
They do change. And self-hate is real, people. What do you mean self-hate is real? What do you mean by that? And come up and share your thoughts. What does that mean? Self-hate is real. Please explain that. I got to hear it. Listen, don't be champions in the chat now. You know, you guys have a window of opportunity to come up here and really express yourself. I always got these folks who catch the live stream after the fact and go ham in the comment section after the video has been posted. You can come up right now and be a participant in the discussion. Explain to me what self-hate. I don't know what that means. People hate truth. To your point, Common Man, yes, definitions do change and they do have a record of when those definitions are updated, right? True. When systemic racism became a real thing and they started really discussing it and examining what that looks like, they added that into the word bank, right? That became a word and it became used. And so they document that and say, hey, during this time, this word was evolved into this. So, but by definition, we could say it used to be defined this way. I'm not arguing with you as far as that's concerned. But the reality is,
in your reality,
no, the reality we live in today, right?
Well, we both live in the same reality.
We do.
But
we do.
We understand words differently. You see?
Okay, I'll give you that. I mean, perception's reality.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I can give to you is that you've experienced things. You've come from a different generation.
And I was taught, if you look at define racist in 1966, that's how I define racist.
That's fine.
Now, how you define racist from after 1980 is totally different from how I define racist from 1966 to now.
I give you that.
I'm still stuck with this. I'm still with the same one. You have a kind of gentler definition of racist. See, I have the actual meaning of the time of racist.
Okay,
You know what
I respect that.
See, we look at it. We are looking at it two different ways.
Yeah, it's almost like your point would be, and I think you make a valid point. And I don't disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. Right. So just like how now times have changed, where you got men going in the women's bathroom, right? But at one point in time, blacks couldn't use, it was for colored only.
That's right.
Right, different times, right? And now, guess what? Maybe in your father's time, they had to go through what? It was okay. Now that's not the case. So now definitions change because what? Society has changed. Society has evolved.
That's a fact, because okay. My father's in his last days. Okay, we had to bring him down from New Jersey down to stay with my sister because he had cancer. Okay, my sister was taking care of him throughout his last days. Okay, now as we was driving from New Jersey down to North Carolina, he was saying things like, "Don't stop here." Okay, or you can't go through there, because he'd been those ways before.
Right.
But he was saying, "You can't go there." I said, "Daddy, it's not like that now. You can't do that." But see, his belief was still from back when he came up in the 60s.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? But I had been through that many times, and it's not like that anymore. You see what I mean? So he had to come to the realization of that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The different meaning of the same places,
yes,
different meaning in different times.
So
I'll give you another example. Okay?
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
Before you go down that, because let me say this. I agree with you, right? And you're absolutely correct. We have a city over here in Georgia called Stone Mountain. Okay, notorious. It was the KKK foundational ground stumping area. Okay, and now to this day, you know, it looked like Chocolate City at Stone Mountain. But there was a once upon a time. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not. I don't want you to think that I'm discrediting that from your perspective and your experience. You're 100% correct, and not
the
want to
same with
take away
BJ.
from
She
that.
believes she was taught the same way as I was taught.
Yeah.
That's why we disagree on the meaning of racist and racism.
No,
I agree with BJ. Okay, because we were taught the same way.
But she disagrees with you though, because she's like, well, Asian people can be racist, but see what you see where it gets tricky. You see how everybody has their own perception of racism and what it means, right? It means something different to each person.
She's probably looking at it from a woman's point of view, because an Asian couldn't be racist to me because they couldn't.
Okay,
you know, I smacked the smack. But a woman don't feel like she has that power. You see what I mean? But they wouldn't be racist to me or you. You see, because you have that power, and you'll look and say what, and it'll change up really quick. You see what I mean?
So I think it's interesting how you look at it. You're looking at power from a physical perspective, where I'm looking at power from an economic and political perspective.
You
get what I'm saying? Systematic, yeah. But I mean, it's cool. But I think that's the thing. Everyone has their own interpretation, from or what they believe racism is. Even like how me and her were talking about microaggressions, and she could easily misinterpret because she herself assumes that white people think and look at her a certain way, and so because of that, anything they say, she gets offended, right? Anything that she might find. Well, my black friends don't talk to me like or ask me those type of questions. So if a white person asks me that, automatically it's coming from a racist place. And that's what's dangerous about that. But that's what's dangerous about that mentality, right?
It's safe. Better be safe than
sorry. Is it safe? If someone said, if a white person came to you and said, "Do you prefer cream in your coffee?" You could take that. You could take anything as.
You're muted. Not yet. 5 seconds.
You know what I mean? It's easy for us caught up in the nuance.
There you go.
My bad.
You're muted again. You have to wait 5 seconds. You back? Still muted.
What is wrong with my thing?
Now you're on.
All right. Look, that's a sign. Look at the computer telling me to shut it down. But anyways, let me end this thing.
I just want to say one thing. Okay, it's like the term coon. Okay? Everybody think the term coon is somebody that bows to the white man. The term coon came from slave catchers. The term coon is because when they used to chase slaves down, they used to run. Remember, we didn't know what we were. Okay, Africans didn't know where they were, so they didn't have water, and they didn't have water, so they would still run away. And usually, when they run away, they climb a tree. Okay, but here's the thing, right? When you get, let's say, all right, you're dark skinned, I'm dark skinned, right? Now, when we are dehydrated, our lips turn white around the face, around here, right around the mouth here. They turn white. Okay, and our eyes get really, really dark. That's high. That's a lot of dehydration. Okay, so when they used to catch the slave, they said we're gonna go cooning. They used to catch the slave who run in the tree. They compared him to the raccoon, whereas around a raccoon's mouth is white and his eyes is dark. So that's where the term coon came from. That's what we started being called coon.
Okay.
It's like in reality, like the step and fetcher thing. When they talk about somebody who bows respect to white people, that was step and fetcher. That came out in the 20s and the 30s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
or like the term redneck. Everybody think redneck means racist. I mean, the racist white person. No. Redneck is what white people call white people.
Yeah.
The redneck came from the white slaves working in the field. This is like during our period of slavery when they used to be mostly white. Because white people used to have their clothes on, but their necks and stuff and their face and stuff was red. They still get something a day. So their skin around their neck was really, really red and started to peel. So that's where that term came from. So let me. Time it changed. The meaning of it changed.
Yes, these words changed, and just like we use the word hoe to hoe, right?
Yep.
And I think to your point, we call some of our uneducated minions will call someone an Uncle Tom, right? Cool. And never even read the book, never even know who Uncle Tom was, right?
Uncle Tom saved a lot of people.
Uncle Tom was the hero of the story,
yep.
Right? So again, I get it, you know what I mean? And again, we can go circle and circle and really kind of bring truth to this, but I appreciate you, Common Man, as always. I appreciate you and thank you just for being a good sport, just with the banter going back and forth. I appreciate you always just coming and showing love on the channel. As always, you're always welcome here. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down.
Well, no problem. I'm just glad to see you back. And I get worried when you go missing, man.
I appreciate
that police officer, bro. And and then people do some, some people get mad at you and shit.
Oh yeah, nah. I'm good. I'm gonna work on my communication. I promise.
All right.
I promise. All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
All right, thanks, man. You too.
All right. Man, then fix that area up. You've been having that same back wall, man.
I was gonna rebuild the house. I'm getting the house built. I just got lazy and I stopped doing it.
I'm just messing with you.
I don't care. But you will see my new house. You're gonna love it, man. You're gonna love it.
All right, sounds good. All right, brother.
Be done by April.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Bedroom, big living room, dining room, whole 9 yards.
All right,
brand new. I'll be the first one to take a shower in the bathroom. Two bathrooms too.
Okay, holla at you, man. All right. All right, brother. Have a good night.
Later, man. All right, bye-bye.
I love that brother. He's a good dude. Common Man brought up good points. Who's in the chat? This is one of my little minions in here. Where he at? Where he at? This brother here. Where he at? Somebody. I don't see him. One of the moderators probably kicked him. Oh, here he is. Bring this brother to the front. Tell this brother to come up. I say this brother got the most to say every video. You'd have thought he'll never come up on the stream though. Come on, man. Come on up, man. You caught me. You the only one I'm gonna let bring up at this point. You can come on up. I was gonna shut it down, but I'll stay on for 10 more minutes just for you to come up. He always got something to say. Bless his heart. but he'll never come up, you guys. You'll always see him in every video. Shout out to him, though. I like his perspective because he's always an antagonist to the videos. You know, this case is very interesting. This case is very interesting. And nah. He's a good dude. I like his he's always commenting. You guys, this channel is not an echo chamber. And I say it all the time. This channel is not an echo chamber. I love the difference of opinions. I don't have all the answers. I like to educate and explain things, you know, from the perspective and from my training, from my experience, and then also just my own personal opinions on things. But, you know, we do have some real conversations over here, you guys. So I do appreciate you just taking the time to even listen to what I have to say, or wanted to, what do you call it? Provide pushback. You know, I'm always open to it. And I'm hoping that through these discussions, I get an opportunity to show you a different perspective. We're not here to change your mind, but to show you a different state of mind. You know what I mean? And sometimes we can be operating from a very self-inflicted standpoint. And that position causes us to not elevate like we should and like we are more than capable of doing, right? Sometimes we focus on the things that are irrelevant and ultimately end up holding our own self back. So anyways, you guys, that's it for tonight. I really, really appreciate everybody who has come up. Shout out to all of the guests who came up on the stream and provided some great perspective. And I really appreciate it. I hope we just took something different from this conversation. We're going to be on standby for the autopsy. I'm really, really anxious to see the facts come out and for us to explore it further from there. And for those who've made it to the 3-hour mark, if you're new and just joining us, you know, like the video. I want to get your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Ask any question. I'd love to hear your feedback. And again, you know, I know this topic on race is very sensitive, but, you know, we got to have it, right? This is the country we live in. It is what it is. Some people have black cell phone chargers and some people have white cell phone chargers. Some people feel the white chargers are more dependable than the black ones, you know, but it's that mentality that prevents us from really coming together and using all black chargers, right? At the end of the day. I don't know, y'all. I think the reality is we just have some ignorant people in this country still, and they're being born every day and they're being educated every day to be more and more ignorant. It's unfortunately, you know, racism is taught. It's a learned behavior. And, you know, we'll never get rid of it, but we definitely don't have to participate in it either. Right. Anyways, you guys, with that being said, shout out to all the super chats. Thank you guys so much. Truly a blessing. I appreciate it. With that being said, let the truth find you where the lies have left you. Good nights and God bless you guys.